What's up, Doc? Are we ready to rock? Good morning. Welcome aboard. Time to rock and roll here on the show. Give me some more, of my headsets there. There, yes, exactly. There we go. A little bit more. I like it. A little bit more, a little bit more. All right, it's a beautiful thing. Welcome aboard. It is time to rock and roll here on the show. We'll be out here with you for, about 4 hours, something along those lines. And we got a lot of things to talk about today on the show. We got a little hockey action tonight as the Panthers are back in action. I always like having something going on. Like we're coming off a day where, we'll talk a little bit about Monday Night Football, and we're going to talk Dolphins, and we'll talk Tua, and I'm sure Kaepernick talk will come in, and NBA and all that. But it's always better when you start your show and you've got something locally that went on last night. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm looking forward to having the Panthers on tonight, and then we'll have something to talk about. Bill Lindsay, by the way, will be joining us. Panthers analyst will be joining us at 2 o'clock, and former Panther himself, of course, and still, of course, owns he'll own it for a long time, the greatest goal in Panther history. So we'll have some fun with Bill at 2 o'clock. Manny Navarro, it's Tuesday, and we have our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report every Tuesday. Manny Navarro will stop by and join us. At noon, we'll talk a little basketball with Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald. So we'll talk a little basketball. We'll talk a little football. We'll talk a little Panthers. I mean, come on, man. I mean, really, only show in town that really goes all through everything that you want to talk about and cover everything that you want to talk about. So we got a bunch of things. Remember, we have our link tied up to our Twitter page. If you want to join us in Vegas for the draft, we'll be out there. Bill and I are going to be out there for a whole week, actually. We're going to go from the 20th through the 27th. We're going from Monday to Monday. And our week just got better, too, because Bruno Mars is there that week. So we'll get to see Foreigner, Bryan Adams, and Bruno Mars. So far, the 3 shows that are going to be there that week. That's pretty good, man.
Was waiting for somebody else to chime in besides the 2.
Oh, it's coming.
And
there's gonna be more.
Bruno's not a bad chime.
Don't be surprised if we don't go to one of these 3 concerts we just talked about because a better concert showed up and it conflicts with it. It's Vegas, bro.
I was just going to say, considering
it's
Vegas, yeah, for sure.
You're going to Vegas, you're going to L.A., you're going to New York. You will have options. The thing is, we're so far out that they haven't really set everything up yet. So all the dates aren't, taken up yet. And that's the thing. It's so far out in April that we're what are we 6 months away or something like that? Pretty close. So it's a half a year. I don't know what the rule is for these venues. How many months they'd like to have their dates out? But I'm sure it's usually several months. I mean, hell, I've had tickets 6, 9, 10 months ahead of time.
Actually, considering we're on the 18th, 19th today, tomorrow is 5 months and we dip.
Right.
So it's actually 5 months, not 6.
Oh, there you go. Even better. Even better. And we're getting ready for our trips to the East-West Shrine, to the Senior Bowl, to the Combine, all of those things. We'll have a little fun with all that, and we'll give you, as always, nobody's going to give you better draft coverage than we do. I mean, it's not even close. And I got to tell you something. This is going to be our best year ever for the draft, because I'm not tied to a station anymore. And so I'm not limited for the 2 or 3 or 4 hours that I have in the show, and then that's all I can get. Now, when I go up there with Bill, what we're going to do is we're going to set up, and we're going to be there all day like we normally are. But if I could get a guy at 9 in the morning, then I'll bring him over. We'll go on live on YouTube. We'll do the interview, and then we'll podcast it. That's the beauty of what we do. And if we're there at noon and at 3 in the afternoon and we're getting information, I'm talking to people, and the girls can get me this quarterback or that defensive end, I'll walk over to our booth, record it, go live, whatever. That's it. It's an all-day thing anyway. The beauty is now we will have the flexibility. We will do a regular show, give you a couple of hours of a show, but then the rest is going to be kind of piecemeal throughout because it's going to be a lot of draft. And so it's going to give you guys an opportunity to meet a lot of these players that normally I would not be able to bring on radio, because one of the problems I also had with radio was, oh, you're going to the East-West? Okay, well, this guy's not known. But I'll give you an example. Do you know I had a program director tell me, who's Jimmy Garoppolo? And I get it. At that moment, he didn't know who the hell Jimmy Garoppolo was. And I could get him on at the East-West years ago when he first was coming out. Remember, I was bragging about Jimmy Garoppolo at the East-West. I was telling you, hey, man, Dolphins could get this guy in the 3rd, 4th round. I really like him. And obviously he had a great week in the East-West, got the invite to the Senior Bowl. His stock exploded, and he went in the 2nd round. And that's why it's a little, it's one of those things. But I don't have the program director, again, who knows nothing, hasn't done my job, none of that. You know what it is? I got to argue with the guy. Yeah, I know he's from a small school, but the Dolphins need a quarterback, and this kid's got skills. Yeah, but we need names. At the East-West Shrine, there aren't a lot of names normally. These are guys that are going to be taken 3rd round to undrafted is what you see in the East-West Shrine. Now, once in a while, a guy like Garoppolo or whatever will sneak in and then get an invite to the Senior Bowl and then get really elevated. Or I remember years ago, my boy out of Hampton. Oh, damn it! Now I'm brain farting. Oh man, I know I have the sound and everything of it as the defensive end that I went crazy for, and he's played up until last year. He was a 3rd rounder, and I'm forgetting his damn name. But anyway, that was one of those guys. But I brought him on. I actually had him on my show at that time. And I get questioned like, who is this? And he went and elevated himself. And I can't believe I'm forgetting my boy's name. Damn. I can't believe I'm forgetting it. Wow. It's terrible that I forget. I don't know how I'm forgetting. I'm trying to remember that because it was a funny thing that these guys made a drop out of it and everything because I was, kind of like going crazy for the player. But now I can't remember the guy's name. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So bottom line is we are going to have the flexibility that we've never had. And we're going to have the opportunity to put a ton of content out there, something we've never been able to do. And by then, obviously, we'll have our website. We'll be able to put together the audio and the video, the interviews, and all that other stuff. So you guys will be able to, get to watch it and listen to it whenever you want. So we'll have all of that going on. It's just we're only in our 3rd month of all of this, and it's been a lot of fun. And I can't say enough about the support that all of you have been giving us. It's been amazing. It truly has. I want to welcome aboard Murias Dental, a new sponsor, along with East Coast Public Adjusters. Our sponsorship base is growing every single day, and we appreciate that as always. Those of you that want to join the family and sponsor our program, we'd appreciate it immensely. And obviously, this allows us to give the best coverage possible. Listen, there aren't a lot of people that are born and raised in South Florida and been in South Florida for 50-plus years and have watched what's happened in sports for 50-plus years and have a passion for the local sports. There aren't a lot of those folks out there. And so this is your homegrown type show is what it is. It's where you, the hometown fan, gets to find out about all your teams because you got a guy behind the mic that likes all sports. I don't shy away from any sport. I like them all. I may not be a genius in hockey. I may not be a genius in MMA or something, but I follow everything. And obviously, if it's a local team, I love it. And if you love the local teams, then you're definitely going to love the show. And our draft coverage this year is going to be absolutely sick. Absolutely sick. It's going to be the best. We're taking it to 10 levels up. Bill's not going to enjoy it, but we will enjoy it, okay? But, it'll be his first experience, so his head is going to be spinning with me going to these things. And that's the other thing, that now that I'm working all 3 days of the draft, I got to work a little harder for information and stuff like that, because the last couple of years it's been lame because they've only done the first round. So I didn't really need to do a ton of homework for radio purposes. For my own, that's a whole different ballgame. But for you guys, I wasn't doing much. I only had to prepare for the first round. Now we're actually going to do it all. Anyway, remember, you can always reach out to us on the accidentlawfirm.com text line at 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the show, that's many ways to reach out to the show. 786-322-1105, the accidentlawfirm.com text line. And, of course, you can also reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show, Instagram, Big O Radio Show. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube, we've got the chat board there as always. You can chat it up. You can send in your questions, comments, insults, all kinds of good stuff there. And we always appreciate you doing that. We do want to remind you that our program is brought to you by Moody S Dental, the implant and Invisalign experts. Take advantage of your insurance benefits for 2019 before the year runs out, and they're all gone. Call 305-821-0231 or visit moodySdental.com. All right, we got the Heat off tonight, Wednesday. They are taking on Cleveland, Game 4 of this easy stretch. Or, you know what, let me not call it an easy stretch, because nothing is easy in pro sports. But let's call it a winnable stretch. And really, I can't tell you enough of how proud I am of this Heat team and the way they've started, the approach to everything, the way they share the basketball, the leadership of Jimmy Butler, which I'm glad we're going to have Anthony Chang on at the top of the hour. He wrote an article today talking about, the leadership of Jimmy Butler. And I've talked about it the last week, how impressed I've been, how he didn't just walk in and take over. He assessed it and then said, okay, I'm going to do what my team needs me to do right now. And if it's assist, it's assist. And if it's defend, it's defend. And if I got to score, I got to score. It's amazing. I did not expect that. I got to be honest with you. I thought he was just going to be the guy and take over, and then everybody kind of, all right, you feed off of me type of deal. That kind of stuff. What Whiteside does for a living. Like, I don't care. I'm going to get mine, and you work and do whatever you want. That kind of, that's not how it works. And that's the reason why they're having success, ladies and gentlemen. Because they're working for each other. They're setting each other up. That if Tyler Hero doesn't have the clean shot, he pushes it to Jimmy or to Kendrick or to Bam or whatever. And the same goes for everybody else. And it's really, really beautiful to watch. And it's a credit to Eric Spoelstra. It's a credit finally to Pat Riley. You know that? And the front office, because they finally got rid of that bum Whiteside. I mean, look, Portland's not doing well. And when they have their European big man in the middle, there's a little bit more flow to that offense. With Whiteside, what kind of flow is there? Huh? What kind of flow is there? So kudos to Pat Riley for finally getting rid of the damn bum. And now you can see that that's not having that hurdle there is enormous for the Miami Heat. Wednesday, Cleveland. Friday at Chicago. That ends the winnable stretch. And then we get the savory game against the Philadelphia 76ers. I love it. I love it because it's one of those things now that you feel your team has a shot. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but I'm saying they got a shot. If you can beat Milwaukee, you can beat Philadelphia. Okay? And if you can outscore Houston, you can outscore Philadelphia too. That's the beauty of if the Heat come in hot, they can score with anybody. Because think about it. If Hero's hitting his shots and Nunn is hitting his shots and Dragon's hitting his shots and Jimmy's hitting his shots, and then you got Bam, and Bam's been, phenomenal. I know he's not hitting threes, but the mid-range has been solid, and obviously he's done a really nice job around the paint. They can score. This is a team that can score a lot of points.
Robinson.
And Robinson.
Leonard.
Yeah, it doesn't end.
It's everybody can shoot.
Everybody can shoot. Bam's the only one that's not a shooter, per se. Okay? He'll score some for you, but he's not. Him and Winslow, they're not the shooters. But they're glue guys, which is what we've been talking about forever. And, right now, it's gorilla glue what Bam is doing. It's not like Elmer's. I think Gorilla took it to another level from Crazy, right? Apparently, right? Something like that. So we used to have Elmer's when we grew up, that sorry-ass white glue that we used for paper stuff. It was great for our paper art when we were kids. Then they gave us Crazy glue and the guy with the construction hat hanging in the air and all that. And now we got Gorilla glue, which apparently can put houses together. Okay? Or maybe we'll do that. The dude that drives around in that glass boat, that Stickum thing, whatever it is. Bam is the ultimate glue guy. Whatever the most powerful glue out there is, that's Bam right now, and it's impressive. It really is. So I can't wait. It's one of those deals where they're better than I expected, and now they're incredibly exciting to watch. And the surprise. That's the other thing, the surprise element that comes to all of this. Because when you don't expect it, 2003 Marlins, it's there's nothing sweeter than that. Right? 96 Panthers. You didn't expect them to get to the damn Stanley Cup. Clutch and grab, and then Beezer on his head spinning every single day, and you're there in the Stanley Cup against the Colorado Avalanche, and you're having this magical season. I know because I covered it. I was there for those games at the Miami Arena. Little place was explosive. But those are the best sports moments. The ones that your team ends up in, and we did not see it coming. Nobody saw 2003 with the Marlins. No one. 97, you weren't surprised that they were in the World Series because they were like 27-5 in the spring. They had this incredible spring training record because they were loaded. And then midway through the season, they go add Dutch, and they add Eisenreich, and they add, what was the pitcher they added? The guy from the Mets, the reliever. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So they loaded. They kept loading up, and you weren't surprised they were in the World Series. But in 03, when those baby Marlins are up against, the evil empire and the $200+ million payroll, wow. The Panthers, you're fresh off a couple of years of expansion, and you got a team made of expansion players sprinkled in with a couple of young guys and a hot goaltender, and you end up in the Stanley Cup Finals. Those are the moments that we've had in South Florida that you just didn't see coming. It was just, you got blindsided, and it's beautiful. And it's happening right now with the Miami Heat. We're kind of getting blind. See, the Panthers having success, it's not a blindside because they've been building for this. They just added a Hall of Fame coach. They just added supposedly a Hall of Fame caliber goaltender. I'd like to see him play that way, but whatever. So the Panthers.
He's a slow starter.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for slow to end. The Panthers are supposed to win. Okay? Now, I have put pressure now on the Panthers. Before, I didn't have pressure. I didn't have really expectations from them. I'm kind of hoping that they develop and take the turn. Now, I'm demanding that they turn the corner. I'm demanding that they play better. I'm expecting that they play well. They have enough talent. Show me the freaking cojones and go out there and do it every night. It's good and bad for the Panthers nowadays, at least in my eyes. It's good because now you've got expectations, but it's bad because you got to live up to them. See, the Heat, they didn't have great expectations. 7-8 seed maybe. Some people even had them out of the playoffs. There were a couple people that talked about a higher seed. Well, there you go. Now we're seeing a team that could be a higher seed. And who knows what they do in the playoffs. Can they get better from here? Why not? And you still never know. There might be a disgruntled star out there that Riley can snatch from somebody. They've got expiring contracts. Something might rear its head in the next month or two in the NBA, and Riley might have an opportunity to add that star by trading away some expiring deals. I don't know. We'll see. Not that they expire right away. They got another year, but maybe it's a disgruntled star that's got several years on their contract. I don't know who. I'm just saying. Things could get even better than what they are right now. And that's nice to see that we've got that element. And that element has created a buzz around the Heat that we haven't had in a while since the Big Three. Really. And that's a whole nother buzz when we talk about the Big Three, obviously. But this is one where it's fun to watch. And I can't wait for every Heat game now. I look forward to every Panthers game too. But I'm a little nervous still about the Panthers. You know what I mean? Because they're good. Hey, they're 10-5-5. They've got 25 points. It's not like they're they've got they're third in their division. They're right there in the middle of the playoff race. So they are in an awesome position compared to years past. But I'm afraid because they're still not playing their best, and they need to get. See, they're playing the kind of hockey that will get you eliminated in the first round. Still, and that's the part. Again, they've got expectations with me now. They need to play better so I can feel like they can maybe make a run. Not win the Stanley Cup. I'm not expecting that, but I'd like for you to get past the first round. I'd like for you to play the kind of hockey that makes me feel confident that you can get past the first round.
There's a lot of good teams in the East, man.
I know.
Boston, Tampa,
yeah,
Washington, Pittsburgh.
But it's
to
time.
be where we're at, there's no shame.
No. I'm not saying there's no shame, but they're not playing the kind of hockey
that puts you like wedged in there like I'm solid.
They're playing the hockey to get in the playoffs, which is a step ahead now of where they've been. I want them to get to a point where I feel like they can make some noise, at least in the playoffs. At least win a round. I would like that from this team. Not just make the playoffs. Win a round.
Do something when you get there.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not asking you to get to the Cup. I'm not asking you to win the Cup. I'm just asking a little more progress, because if you have a great goaltender and you have a great coach, you should be able to get out of the first round. That's all I'm asking.
Goaltending is key in the playoffs, man.
That's all I'm asking. So the pressure's on them now. I have to put pressure and I have to put expectations on the Panthers. They've had enough time to develop. All these young cats have had more than enough time. Now it's time to perform at an incredibly high level every single night. And they're all paying you. It's not like anybody's not getting, they're all getting paid. This ownership group committed. So it's time for them to pick it up in a big time way. All right, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. So did you see what happened on the Hardball show with Chris Matthews? Huh?
I heard about that.
You heard about it?
Okay. 5 people testifying this week who were on the phone listening to the president talk about this swap of dirt for U.S. military aid.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans...
What was that again? Huh? What?
The Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint...
Wow. Damn. This is not a politics thing, okay, just because I'm playing Chris Matthews. But Chris Matthews was interviewing a congressman from California, Eric Swalwell, and as you can tell...
to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans...
Wow.
to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans...
Somebody stepped on a duck there.
5 people testifying this week who were on the phone listening to the president talk about this swap of dirt for U.S. military aid.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've...
But I love how he says cheat...
cheat an
election.
Election.
I love that part. That part is awesome.
Cheat an election.
I mean, there's a cheat and then the fart. I mean, it's like Chris Wallace waited for the right moment.
Help him cheat an election.
Wow.
Does that not sound a little bit like a whoopee cushion that's muffled? That, you know what I mean?
Or it's just a big giant butt that's sitting on a chair and it's a muffled fart is what it sounds like.
Cheat an election.
You know what I'm saying?
Cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans...
No?
Cheat an election.
And he doesn't miss a beat. He just kept going, dude. I mean, that congressman has got, I mean, some poise when it comes to all of that. Because I got to tell you, I'm doing an interview and then you hear that. I'm going to, whoa, what went on there? Who stepped on a duck? What's going on? I thought that was hilarious.
To help him cheat an election.
Wow.
And
that was entertaining there. And what's going on with the producers at that moment, directors, everybody? Did you hear that? Did that get on the air? And you know right there and then there's an engineer and a producer like rewinding. Yeah, it got on the air.
Did that just actually happen?
Oh, man. When you got to go, you got to go.
To help him cheat an election.
Okay. All right. I mean, these things happen, folks. You know?
To help him cheat an election.
Yeah, it's just one of those deals. Maybe he had a heavy lunch or something, Chris Wallace. And let me tell you something. For the mic to pick up that loud.
To help him cheat an election.
These mics are directional. They're not omnidirectional. All right? Because I have 4 dogs at home, and sometimes they bark, and you won't hear it on the mic ever because the mic is a directional mic, and so it won't pick it up, and I could hear it in my headset actually in the background, but the mic doesn't pick it up. For the mic to pick that up.
To help him cheat an election.
Wow, that is, I'm telling you, he shook the desk. That was a major, major, major gas break right there.
To help him cheat an election.
Yeah. I think you better, what was it called? PG Gas? Is that the name of the company? Something like that? You better call PG Gas right there for Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace could power your house right now.
To help him cheat an election.
He can actually walk up to your Tesla car and...
To help him cheat an election.
Right into your car and fill it up right there. High Octane Farts by Chris Wallace.
To help him cheat an election.
That's hardball right there, man. Ooh, wow. Love that. That is fantastic. 2 security guards, by the way, charged in connection with the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein's death. Did you hear about that? They, didn't go check up on him. Hey, Walton waived after police incident. We got some breaking news. The Dolphins have waived Mark Walton after they were made aware of a police matter involving him this morning. He was cut immediately, with GM Chris Grier saying they hold players to a high standard. Walton was through 2 games of a 4-game suspension dating back to his 3 off-season arrests. Dude, what is up with Mark Walton? Are you kidding me? Kid, you get drafted in the 4th round. You get arrested 3 times. The Bengals cut you. The Bengals are used to morons. They're used to thugs and criminals and punks. You get arrested 3 times in 2 months. You would figure that you would never have another run-in with the law ever again in your life. How am I hearing that this guy had another run-in with the cops? I mean, seriously, Mark Walton, my man, how stupid can you be? You got a chance of a lifetime. Kalen Ballage is stinking up the place.
You've been excelling.
They traded away their best running back for an asset because you have a chance. You got a shot at proving and making money.
Dumbass.
Wow. That is amazing. Damn. How is that guy getting in trouble once again? How does that make any sense whatsoever? Wow. That is sad. That's sad. Let me see what Safid Dean writes here. Dolphins have released embattled running back Mark Walton on Tuesday. We were made aware of a police matter early this morning regarding Mark Walton. We hold our players to a high standard and take these matters very seriously. We will have no further comment at this time, Chris Grier said in a statement. Walton, former standout University of Miami, was in the midst of a 4-game suspension that stemmed. Well, I guess time is bad for this kid. I guess the time off was not good. Wow. I just no. So far, we have not seen any of the issues on what happened with Mark Walton. Wow. That's the level of stupidity sometimes even shocks me. I got to tell you.
Because I know my lamp.
Right. There you go. Wow. I'm beside myself. I know Patrick Laird is loving this because he's like, all right, the way Kalen Ballage is playing, I'm the starting running back for the second half of the season. Myles Gaskin's going, yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Wow. This is, how dumb can you be? I'm really amazed. I thought he was smart enough to finally figure it out. Look, you screw up, Lord knows I screw up 1,000 times a day. Okay? We're all going to screw up. Three times in 2 months, anybody can get arrested. Okay? It could happen to any of us at any time. We can make a mistake. We had 1 drink too many and we don't think we're drunk, but we might be a little buzzed, whatever. We got in the car, a DUI, not condoning it, but it can happen to anybody. You can have any incident somewhere, just the worst thing happened, bad timing, bad moment, bad place, bad time. You get arrested. Anybody can make a mistake. Now, when you get arrested 3 times in a couple of months, that's a problem. And then you actually finally get your second chance. Not only do you get your second chance, you get an opportunity to start for an NFL team. You actually shine because you've got talent. The good Lord above blessed you, dude. He gave you an ability that you could go out and make some money with. And this is how you do it? I don't get it, man. Your hometown team gives you a break. You got a chance to play pro ball where you played college. And you're going to get another incident with the cops? And I don't blame the Dolphins for, cutting his ass. Because clearly you're not smart enough to stay away from trouble. Wow. What a shame, dude. I tell you, that's just terrible. Big Mike, by the way, is sending me some stuff here. NFL draft details, Las Vegas location to be revealed November 26th. That's what this article says in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. The NFL is set to begin April 23rd in Las Vegas, but its exact location has been a mystery. This will change the 26th when NFL representatives plan to announce that the Link Promenade and the new Caesars Forum Conference Center will host what has become the NFL's most popular offseason event. According to multiple sources familiar with negotiations and planning, the event will be broadcasted over 3 days, starting the afternoon of April 23rd, with the first of 255 players' names will be announced, where draft picks will stride across the stage, each with a new jersey or in hand and a hat with a new team's logo. Whatever, keys to the event, Caesars Entertainment Corp., brand new Caesars Forum, the 550,000 square foot event facility being built just east of the Link Promenade at the foot of the High Roller Observation Wheel. I know exactly where that's at. The company has said the venue could accommodate 10,000 people at a time and that it will have two 110,000 square foot pillarless ballrooms plus two other ballrooms with plenty of divisible space for teams and ready rooms. The forum will also have an indoor-outdoor component that opens out to the Link Promenade that could play into whatever plan the NFL has to showcase the event to members of the public who likely will arrive by thousands to watch live. There you go. So how about that? So the Link, and that's where the Brooklyn Bowl is at. They're one of the coolest concert venues that you will ever be to. Yeah, I saw the Violent Femmes there, and it was outstanding, dude. It's a great place. It's they got the floor with the stage. Then to the right, there's a wall, and then tables and a long bar. And then on the left side, there's another wall with tables and then bowling alleys. And so you have the concert, you can be bowling and checking out the concert. You can be hanging out watching it, and they have a second floor balcony too that you can look down onto the stage. It's like a really cool setup. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, super, super cool.
Bowling alley during the concert.
Yeah.
If all the lanes are taken, those pins and bowling balls can be pretty loud.
No, you don't even hear them.
No,
because
they got the sound set up such that,
and it's pushed back. Because remember, you got people standing in some tables, and then the tables start for the bowling alley, and then the alley. So by the time it crashes down there, you know
what I'm talking about, though. Back in the day,
I get
Don
that.
Carter lanes, you'd be playing pool and
but they must have acoustically set it up how the impact of all of that is back there. But it's so far to the left by the time the ball hits the pins that there's no way you could hear it at that point. And especially when there's music being played and there's, 2,000 people there.
For the concert.
Then
there's these idiots over here bowling, not watching the band.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Maybe they are watching the band. They're just bowling and just no. And they're just blistering in the sun while they're bowling. That's all. Nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Can you tell the people on stage to be quiet? I'm about to get my last strike from my 300 game. Thank you.
Exactly. Anyway, if you guys want to get in, you can send us a text on the accidentlawfirm.com text line at 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, you can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show, as always. Send us a tweet there. On Instagram at Big O Radio Show. Don't forget that the Big O Show is brought to you by East Coast Public Adjusters. If you have a leaky roof, there's only 10 months left to open your IRMA claim, folks. Don't settle for less. For a free inspection, call East Coast Public Adjusters, 855-GET-ECPA. That's 855-GET-ECPA.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, welcome back. We take you, of course, till, I don't know, about 3, something like that. We got a loaded show for you today. Anthony Chang will join us at the top of the hour. We'll talk a little basketball with Mr. Chang. We'll have a little fun with him as the Heat get ready for a little Cleveland action tomorrow. Can't wait for the Heat. Even though it's Cleveland and they should kick their ass, I just want I just want to see another game, man. I'm having a lot of fun watching the Heat. We're going to talk to Manny Navarro at 1 o'clock. We've got some Canes news to go over, Canes nuggets, all kinds of good stuff with Manny. So we'll, with our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report, we love having Manny on every week here on the program. Bill Lindsay also is going to join us, Panthers analyst, former Panther also, of course. He's going to join us at 2 o'clock. We'll preview a little Flyers and Panthers. Flyers have got 24 points. They're right behind the Panthers with 25. So it's not going to be – I mean, listen, there are no easy games, and it's like Bill said, the East is loaded. There's a whole bunch of good teams there, and it's not like Miami is it's not like Florida is heads and tails above everybody else. There's a lot of good teams, and they're fighting, but they need to get to a point where they're better than what they are right now. You know, chime in on the YouTube chat board, by the way. George says, good morning, boys. Pissed I never got the notification from YouTube that you guys were on live. I did not know. Bob Whitmer says, wow, a Walton. I know. I just can't believe it. Michael DeLuca says, Dolphins just waived Walton. Listen, the news for those of you that are just tuning in, Mark Walton has been waived. We are seeing and we're trying to see if anything gets followed up on social media with Walton and what happened specifically with Mark Walton. It's a shame, too, man. It really is, because this kid was headed in the right direction, and somehow or another, the goofball just ends up getting arrested again, or not arrested, or has an incident with the cops again, and now the Dolphins have parted ways. And that puts the Dolphins in a difficult position, too, because now they've got to replace a running back. And I know that they've got Laird and Gaskins there, but you're now going to have to try to find somebody else just in case, because you have injuries and you still have a few more games to go in this season. You know what I mean? So that's why this situation is disturbing, and it's even more disturbing on the Mark Walton side. That's the part that I just have a hard time understanding, how this kid is having these kind of issues. What a shame, man. I tell you, what a shame. Anyway, UM basketball, they are off tonight. They're 3-1. Thursday, they're back in action to take on the Missouri State Bears. Last night, Kansas City defeated the Chargers 24-17. Tyreek Hill had a hamstring injury. Mahomes wasn't anything great yesterday, only 182 yards. But Rivers was the guy that was just absolutely brutal. Now, look, Phillip Rivers, some will argue that he's a Hall of Famer and some won't, and I get it. And because of what has happened to him lately, that will, in some people's eyes, that will take away his right to be in the Hall of Fame. But I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame when it's all said and done. He's got the kind of numbers. But Phillip Rivers has also always been a gunslinger. He's always been that guy that can throw for 300-400 yards and 3 touchdowns, but also throw 3 interceptions easily. Yesterday, he threw 4 interceptions. He's thrown 7 interceptions now in the last 2 weeks. And it's not so much the interceptions, because this happens every year almost, or every other year in any kind of sport. You notice when a guy all of a sudden got old. And I'm wondering if that's what we're kind of watching, because some of those interceptions were just absolutely brutal. Some of them were that you're a 77-year-old veteran. You've been in the NFL for 410 years. I mean, you got to know better. You got baited on one of them that it was like if you were Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen or any young quarterback you want to point at that could easily get baited and fooled into making a mistake. That, to me, is what it reminded me of when I saw Phillip Rivers last night. It looked like a guy that got old and got old fast. And the Chargers, they should have already been thinking quarterback, obviously, with as many years as Rivers has on him at this point. But I think the last 2 weeks, and specifically last night, if you're in that front office and you're that coach too, you've got to be thinking, yeah, I think the gravy train is done, and I think we need to get off that gravy train. And the Chargers, I think they have to start, thinking about turning the page now and going in another direction, because he just doesn't have it. I don't believe he's that guy anymore. And some of the throws yesterday were just absolutely baffling. And they walked away from it at 4-7. So their season is pretty much done. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe you bring him back for another year because you draft a kid this coming season and you start to groom him under Phillip Rivers. Not that something tells me Phillip Rivers isn't going to be the best mentor at this point in time if you draft somebody, because it's kind of like sending the message, you're done. And it's a catch-22, isn't it? Because the problems with quarterback in the NFL are deep. There's only a few teams that have a guy that they can feel and say, oh, we got a stud, we got a franchise guy. Then there's some others that say, well, we got a guy that we could kind of get by and we can win and we can do some stuff with. And then there's a whole half the league that says, we need a quarterback. And then that's what the desperation becomes. It's a two-part desperation. It's you do almost anything to get one when you don't have one. And then when you have one, you got to know when to get off the gravy train and move on and plan ahead. And Walsh, years ago, he did one of the ballsiest things in the world in acquiring Steve Young from Tampa, having Joe Montana in place. And then for Bill to then trade him a couple of years later because Steve was ready to go. That was, gutsy to do that kind of stuff, but at the same time, it's incredible foresight to be able to do stuff like that. Montana had a back issue, all that stuff, and Walsh had to get off that gravy train. And maybe that's what was happening a couple of years ago with Belichick when that whole Garoppolo thing broke out, and Brady was pissed. The owner and Brady supposedly were on the same page. Belichick was, no, hey, man, I got to keep Garoppolo because he's the guy. And they ended up trading Garoppolo, and they really didn't get value for him, actually, because after investing all that time in Garoppolo, to get back the second rounder you invested is not good. And especially a second rounder from San Francisco, which is not going to be a great pick. And so you look at it, and it's desperation in all kinds of ways. So now, if you're the Chargers, if you don't have that heir apparent, then do you continue to hang on to the guy that is running out of gas because you don't have the heir apparent? But the guy that's running out of gas is not good enough anymore, right? And you look at Carolina now. Carolina is having that issue. You see what the owner did right now. He came out and said, we haven't made a decision on Cam yet. The note is that they are going to wait for Cam to have David Tepper, the owner from the Panthers, says we haven't made a decision on Cam, on his future, and we won't until he's had surgery and he's healed, so we know where he's at. He's owed $18.6 million. He's got a $2 million option. The team can save $19 million if they cut him. So desperation sets in on all levels. So Carolina says the young kid started off like a stud, but now
gangbuster, man.
Now he has cooled off, and it's 10 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He is not the guy anymore. So do we hang on to Cam for now, Or do we continue with Allen? Do we think we can build with this kid? Or they've already figured him out. He is what he is. We're not going anywhere with this kid. He had some moments, and now it's done. Desperation sets in. I've even heard people talk about Cam Newton for the Dolphins, which would be incredibly stupid. Let me explain something to those of you out there. Okay? If you make a commitment to Cam Newton, you now have to design the offense for him specifically. And he is injury prone at this point. Because his game will lead you to injuries because he cannot play from the pocket. He's not an accurate enough passer. He will drive your ass crazy with his inaccurate arm. He's got a cannon, but he cannot be an accurate passer. That's why he's got to run around. That's why he's got to run. Because without his legs, he cannot be an effective quarterback. And if you have him, then you need to find a backup like him. And then that changes your whole football team. And that's why you need to stay traditional, because it's a lot easier to interchange the player at quarterback with that kind of an offense. With this kind of an offense, it's hard to find that skill set. It just is. That's why I'm as amazed as everybody else with what Lamar Jackson is doing. Okay? He is proving me dead ass wrong right now. But I'm still not on the bandwagon because I know what happens when a quarterback runs 200 times a year. And for me, the clock is ticking, and it's only a matter of time till somebody catches Lamar and maybe ends his career or ends the running. It's just the way it is. I hate this. I don't want it to happen, but that's what happens to running quarterbacks. And signing Cam Newton would be really stupid on the Dolphins' part. That's just a headache, is what it is. Nothing more, nothing less at this point. But the quarterback desperation that's in this league creates all of this. And you don't know if, look at the New York Giants, how they've gone through the desperation. They hung on to Eli too long, and they finally drafted their kid. I don't believe he's the answer, but they believe he's the answer, and we'll find out. But they did have to turn the page finally with Eli. They tried to see if they can have the perfect ending this year. But there are a lot of careers where more often than not, you're not going to have a perfect ending. And sports is definitely one of those. It's just hard to have a perfect ending. More often than not, it'll be ugly. You know? But what are you going to do? It's part of, again, the desperation. Finding one. Keeping one. How long do you keep one? When do you get off the bandwagon for one to go to the other? These are the decisions that drive all of these guys crazy. And right now in the Panthers, they don't know what to do because the Allen kid did not continue ascending. So now they're like, and everybody was assuming, oh, he's gone. I thought he was gone for sure. Now if you're Carolina, you're like, damn, dude, we've won too many games to get a quarterback in the draft early. So, and this kid Allen, if I'm not convinced with him, then what do? Are we just going to cut Cam and then we have no quarterback?
Maybe a knee jerk because of getting smoked by Atlanta this weekend.
Whatever.
But, I mean, he's, like you said, 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. It was on the downslide. But to get smoked, score 3 points against Atlanta, maybe that was, hey.
Well, they caught up to him already. They figured him out.
Smack in the face. Yeah, here it is.
That's why I always say with players, you got to wait till their second year that they're doing it well, because that's when the league has tape on you. They know who you are, and then they're going to play chess with you. But if you're doing it in your second year, it's because you've countered them already. And everything that they've tried has now worked because you're a really good player overall. Yeah, and People ask me about Lamar Jackson. Do you believe? I said, yeah. Ask me in December of 2020. And if I see him running around like a gazelle into next season and he's still healthy, I'll give him the nod and say, okay, he did it. He's doing it. But I think eventually that game runs out of gas because somebody catches your ass. And it's the desperation decision now at quarterback is enormous. And it's going on in several places. And how about if you're the Giants? You knew you had to move on from Eli, and you did. But by the end of the season, are you convinced that Daniel Jones is the guy? That'll be frustration. Carolina, do you hang on to Cam, or do you let him go? Do you hang on to Allen, or do you draft somebody else? The Dolphins, what do? Do you draft Tua early anyway because you're so desperate for a quarterback, you'll take an injured quarterback? Or do you have the patience and the discipline to say, hip injury, too serious, I'm not taking him early. If he's there for me late in the first round or early second, I'll think about it then. That's the desperation. Blaine Gabbert going to Jacksonville, desperation. Tannehill, a project, you take him number 8 overall, that's desperation. That position creates it's almost like it's like watching a drug addict trying to stay away from their problems. That's what it reminds you of. It really does, unfortunately. It's a shame, man. It really is an absolute shame. But it's a frustration that you got to live with in this league. And the smart ones, they know when to get off the gravy train. The Patriots ended up drafting a kid out of Auburn, Jarrett Stidham, a kid that I liked coming out of college. Maybe he's the guy for the future. And maybe Belichick found his guy, and maybe not. But when Brady does walk away, how prepared will the Patriots be? That'll be interesting to see. Didn't Brady say like he'll play like to 47 now? Oh, man. I will say this. I want to see the Dolphins retire Brady. That's what I want to see. I'm hoping Chris Greer and company can load this team up over the next couple of years and make it to a point that Brady looks around and says, yeah, it's time to turn it in. Yeah, we're not the guys anymore. They're the team now. That's where we need to get to. We'll see. I got a ton of faith that this thing is going to turn around. I really do. And I know some of you out there are like, how can you have faith, though? Where do you find the confidence? I think there are really good football people now in place. And I think they're going to make a lot of good picks and a lot of good moves. And I think there's going to be an influx of talent coming into this team over the next few years. So I am one of those believers in it. Now, I've been a disbeliever for a long, long time with the Dolphins. And it's nice to feel this way. But that quarterback decision, everybody's guilty of that one. That's the most difficult decision that happens for anybody out there. It really is. And it doesn't matter who you are or how big of a coach you've been, you'll go through that hell at one point or another trying to figure that position out. And that's the hell that this team has been in for 20-plus years now since Marino retired. And that's why they've had, a ton of quarterbacks after Marino. What is it, 18, 19, 20 or something like that? It's been an enormous number. Now we got to see if they can figure it out and find that guy. But the desperation, it creates some really, really screwed up decisions. Benjamin Lyle on the YouTube chat board says, Big O, what about tanking Tua or taking Tua with our second first-round pick and still loading up for Lawrence in 2021. Best of both worlds. And he says because Tua will have to sit out a year regardless. Wow. I don't know if I would take him with my second pick. I think the third pick I would. The last pick, that'll be in the 20s probably in that first round. I don't mind taking him there because you get the 5th year. And since he's going to sit out a year, it gives you 4 more years to develop him and hope that he can stay healthy. See, the reason why I wouldn't take him early is because I have no hope in him staying healthy. Seriously. I feel like that. I felt like that last week before the hip injury. I was done with him. And now with the hip injury, it's over. I think that hip will pop out again, like when we talked about with Will Carroll about that and the Dennis Pitta injury, that he compared it a lot to that one. And he's injury prone. He's fragile. He's like you and me playing football. His body is not like a regular football player that can handle the hits. It's just not. And he's a phenomenal young man, and I want him to have success, and I wish him the best. That has nothing to do. I'm not wishing anything bad on the kid or just like Lamar Jackson. I want Lamar to prove me dead wrong, dude. He's a South Florida kid. I want him to have all the success in the world. I just don't believe in that style of play. These guys are too big, strong, and badasses. And eventually one of those guys, with anger, they're going to be pissed one of those days of watching him run, and they're going to catch him. And when they catch him, they're going to want to unload on his ass. And I don't look forward to that day. And as for Tua, I got to be honest with you. I don't look forward to seeing Tua in the NFL. I think it's going to be Sam Bowie and Sam Bradford all over again. I really do. But desperation will drive you to make crazy decisions in life. In football, desperation is usually part of the quarterback decision. You will trade a ton of picks to move up for a guy. You will draft a guy like Mark Sanchez that has 1 year of experience, like Mitch Trubisky. You'll draft a Blaine Gabbert, who wasn't ready to be whatever he was, the 3rd, 4th, 5th pick of the draft overall for the Jags back in the day. All these kind of things happens all the time in sports. And you'll convince yourselves of it. And because Haskins threw 51 touchdowns, you're convinced that he can be the guy. And then when you see him in the NFL, he's completely lost. This position will make men do things they've never done before in the NFL. It is as twisted as it gets. Well, what are you going to do? All right, Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald is going to join us. We're going to talk with the Herald beat writer on the other side. Before we do that, let's talk about the finest Acura dealership in the planet. And that's, of course, at Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines, where they've got some great deals going on right now. Let's talk about some of the lease features. First of all, still have some 2019 models left over. The ILX at $119. 2020 models. Let's start off with the TLX, $259, the RDX, $329, the MDX, $369. Only $29.99 due at signing, plus tax tag and registration, folks. Tell them that Big O sent you, and I promise they'll take care of you, man. Great dealership, great people. Go see Larry Schlossberg and all the amazing people at Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodzie can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
I see my phone ringing. It says scam likely. I got one from Colombia yesterday. Egypt, Colombia. It's really amazing. Russia. You're like, man, I don't have any.
The way you said scam in Colombia, I thought, RCA Records, Columbia House.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, time to talk a little basketball. There's so many good things to talk about with this Miami Heat team. Anthony Chang has got to be having a blast covering this Miami Heat team. And you can follow him on Twitter like I and so many others do at Anthony Chang. And, of course, catch his work there at the Miami Herald or at your doorstep. Anthony, good afternoon, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Definitely a lot more fun than it was the first 3 years on the beat, that's for sure.
I was talking about this, that it's really cool when moments like this happen in South Florida sports. And, being old, I've lived a lot of them, actually all of them here in South Florida. But a couple that come to mind are the mid-'90s Panthers that surprised us a couple years after expansion. And with Beazer, they got to the Stanley Cup Finals. Nobody ever thought that in the beginning of the year that you would be in the Stanley Cup Finals. And then the Marlins in 2003. None of us expected. The 97 Marlins, being in the World Series was not a surprise. But the 2003 Marlins, come on, dude. The way they started, they had to change managers, all that stuff. They end up in the World Series and surprise the crap out of all of us, and they end up winning it, too, on top of all of that. This Heat team, I'm not saying they're going to go win a title or anything.
Right.
But what I'm saying is I thought this was a 7 or 8 seed. You know what I'm saying, Anthony? I thought this was a team that, all right, they'll be fun to watch. They added Jimmy. They'll get to the first round. They'll get spanked and sent home. I've seen this story before. If you have one all-star, that's about good enough to get you in the playoffs, and that's about it. Well, to our surprise, all of a sudden Kendrick Nunn and Tyler Hero and Silva and all these other guys that are performing, and Dragic has turned into a hell of a six-man. Now we're talking about a team that's surprising us because they're going to be better than any of us ever expected.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's been a while, right? Like you said, like 2003 Marlins were the last one that South Florida got. But this team is that to the first 12 games. I mean, I was high on this team entering the season. I thought they could compete for like a 5 seed around there. But
you told us that.
I mean, they're playing. Yeah, but they're playing even better than I thought. Like they are. I mean, 12 games. They're one of the best teams in the league. I don't know if they can sustain it over 82, but the way they're playing to start the year, the ball movement. Kendrick Nunn averaging close to 18 points. And Goran, like you said, playing great in the 6-man role. Bam just doing everything. I think he's one of the most valuable players on this team. Jimmy Jimmy's been surprising. Like he hasn't been scoring like we thought he would, but I mean, averaging a team high in assists, almost 8 assists a game, and just his defense, he's obviously so valuable to the team. So it's just all around. If you would have told me, Justice is going to miss, 7 of the first 12 games. Derek Jones didn't play 4 games. Dion Waiters and James Johnson basically aren't going to play at all. And this team is 9-3. That is not something I would have expected. So it's been a totally surprising year. And, they have a chance here to really, the next 2 games against losing teams, they could be 11-3 by Friday, which is crazy.
Now, dude, I know, okay, I'm smart enough to know that that's not the sole reason, but not having Whiteside is definitely a contributing factor. I know having Hero and having Nunn and having Silva and having Miles Leonard and the ball movement, all that stuff has helped. I get all of that, and Jimmy Butler, but that headache that Spo had in managing all the big men, and he doesn't play this game. And that's another thing that kind of bogged them down. And then I'm looking at what's going on in Portland, and hell, they're so desperate they've signed Melo, dude. I mean, give me a freaking break. And there's Whiteside. Yeah. And so that has to be a little bit of a factor why there is more chemistry and more flow to this offense, correct?
I think there's without a doubt. If you put the heat on Truth Serum, they will tell you that makes a huge difference. I mean, just the fact that Bam is starting and playing starters minutes consistently, 30, 32 minutes a game, offensively, he doesn't need a play called for him. Hassan wanted the ball. You had to throw it to him in the post to keep him happy. He would get the alley-oops, but, he wanted the offense around him. Bam doesn't need the ball to make an impact. You give him the ball in the high post or at the elbow, and he passes the ball. I mean, he's averaging 5 assists for a center. That's really impressive. You look at the ball movement, like you said, like we talked about earlier, that's the style of offense they're running. With Hassan, you really couldn't run that offense when he was on the court because you throw it down to him, he's more likely not going to pass the ball. So it's just a different feel offensively. And then defensively, as good of a defender as Hassan was, a great shot blocker, a good rebounder, he wasn't a guy you could switch on the pick and roll and was a versatile defender. Bam is that. I mean, Bam defensively, he just gives you a totally different dynamic with his athleticism, and you see it. So it makes a big difference, I think. I think Bam is kind of the perfect fit for the way, Eric Spoelstra wants to play. And he's been key to kind of the entire team's success so far to start the season.
And you can follow Anthony, by the way, on Twitter at Anthony_Chang. And really, the play of Bam has been outstanding, dude. I mean, in every way, shape, and form, he fills up the entire stat sheet. He's done a really nice job overall. Does have to improve his free throw shooting. He's got to get a little bit more consistent there. I don't know what happened because he was a better free throw shooter last year.
Yeah. He was.
Yeah, so has he answered you why he all of a sudden is not as good a free throw shooter? Because that's weird because he's a better player overall.
Yeah, right. And he's getting to the free throw line more than ever, right?
Yes.
I don't. I haven't asked him. It's probably a question I need to ask him here next few days. But it's weird. You're right because he does have good form. He's not he doesn't take many outside shots, in game, but he's not a bad. You could tell he's not a bad perimeter shooter. It's just one of those things. You saw Hassan last year. I think he shot the worst percentage in the league, and then this year he's at 75%. So free throw shooting is a weird thing. It comes and it goes. But you'd hope over the course of this season that he can get closer to 70%. I think he's at what? He's at 62% right now, which is just not good, especially if you're shooting 6 a game. Like, that's a lot of points you're leaving on the table. So he'll need to improve that. But, I mean, other than that, it's hard to criticize Bam. I think I was looking through the numbers. There are only 3 players averaging at least 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. And it's Luka Doncic, Bam, and Giannis. I mean, that's impressive. That just shows you kind of his all-around game, and the fact that he's only 22, he's going to continue to grow. So Bam has been a very, Kendrick Nunn obviously has been a big surprise. Jimmy, Tyler Hero, all those guys, but Bam, his play has been really encouraging.
No, I'm with you all the way. That Bam's play has been phenomenal, and if I remember correctly, you're so right when you said that free throws come and go. I remember that Tim Duncan also, and that's Mr. Fundamental, by the way.
Right.
That's the big fundamental, as Shaq would call him. Even Tim Duncan's free throw percentage went up and down, too, down the stretch of his career. He struggled with some of that, which was really weird for a guy like that because he was so fundamentally sound and he was so smooth at everything that he did. In fact, I'm trying to pull up the stats now as I tell you so I can prove it to folks out there, because it's not just a Bam thing. It seems to happen to big men all the time. Yeah. Here we go. I got it here. Free throw percentage. Watch. Here we go. 79, 71, then 59, 67, 62, 63, 73, 69, 72, 71, 69, 81, 73, 74, 70. But you see how he went through a stretch of 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's Tim. That's Tim freaking Duncan, dude. Okay?
Right, Mr. Fundamental. Right. Yeah. And it could be as simple as, honestly, I don't know. Obviously I have to ask him, but it could be as simple as, look, this is a bigger role for him. He's never played this role.
That's a great
point. He's spending a lot of energy. His legs might be, more heavy, during games than he was last year. I could play a role in it. This is new for him. I know he was a starter, toward the end of the season last year, but the team is relying on him more than ever now on both sides of the course. So it could be an adjustment, and that could have a role. But I think history. The encouraging thing is history shows he can make free throws. So you would think that he'll get closer to 70 as the year goes on.
Is Riley handling this well? Because this is kind of a shock for him to have all this youth developing here. You know what I mean? And he'll probably hate to hear that I'm saying something like that, or anybody saying that, but that's never been his thing. It's always going after the veterans and all that, and that's paid off. That's why they've got 3 titles. But I got to tell you, this has kind of really saved his ass after the last couple of years and the terrible decisions with the other contracts. This wave of youngsters has really kind of re-energized the fan base and the front office.
And it's kind of the only way that he could have done it, right? Because they didn't really have much cap space. So yeah, you get Jimmy somehow through a sign and trade, but other than that, you don't have space to get anybody else. You had to get these affordable contracts and find value and to really surround Jimmy, because you didn't have the money to surround him with other all-stars at this point. So that's what they did. Kendrick has been, I think, better than any of us thought. Tyler Hero has been a valuable player off the bench for this team. He's only 19. Even, like you said, Chris Silva on a 2-way contract. They haven't been able to even send him to Sioux Falls because he brings something off the bench, the energy, the rim protection to this team. Like, that's kind of what they needed. They needed these guys to outperform the contracts, and it's happened.
Hey, Anthony, can they sign him to a regular deal, or they don't have space to do that, or what's the – because if he's on that 2-way deal, he's going to be limited to a certain amount of games, and then he's back at Sioux Falls. And this seems to me like this is a guy they actually need on this team now.
Right. Yeah, right now they can't because they're up against the hard cap, but in January when 10-day contracts – you're allowed to sign a guy to a 10-day contract, you can.
Oh, okay.
So in January, I think they'll be able to, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to sign him to a regular deal. And right now the Heat, basically he's not, it's funny because the way two-way contracts work, if you practice with the NBA team, it counts as a day. So what the Heat have been doing, I don't think he's practiced with the Heat pretty much the entire season. He's just playing in games. Like, he'll practice on his own with assistant coaches or do stuff on his own, in the weight room, so it doesn't count toward the 45 days. So pretty much he's going to probably get 45 games in with the 45 days. So it should last until January when they'll have a decision to make of what they want to do. But I think the plan is right now. I mean, it doesn't look like they're going to send him to Sioux Falls anytime soon.
No, dude, it's a beautiful problem to have, and that whole Udonis Haslem comparison, it's a great comparison because he really does remind you of a little Udonis Haslem. It just reminds you of a junior right there. He's got to develop the offensive game a little bit more. UD already had more of an offensive game than this kid at that point in his career, but the defensive side, the tenacity, all that stuff, it's very UD-like.
Yeah, no, the hustle, I mean, they're different positions, because he is more forward. And Silva's, even though he's only 6'8", he's a center. I mean, the way he plays the center and the rim protection. I think he's more athletic than UD even was, just because he can get up higher. But you're right. I think UD was more of a polished player at that point. But Silva, as you said, the hustle, the energy, the Frank Martin background, you see it, and everything I hear, UD loves Chris Silva, that's his guy. So it's kind of cool to see, with UD on his, obviously on his way out, soon, to see someone kind of resemble him, a young UD. So it's been again another unexpected aspect of this season. A two-way contract player playing, being a consistent part of the rotation. That doesn't happen often.
No, not at all. And both Frank Martin guys too, because obviously UD played for Frank at Miami High. I was in the locker room several times during that specific year of UD being at Miami High, because I'm tight with Frank. So Frank would let me into the locker room, and I could hang out there with them. That was an interesting time. That was a hell of a team too back in those days.
Yeah, Steve Blake, right, too.
Yeah. No, that team was loaded, bro, loaded. And Miami High is probably one of the coolest gyms in high school because it's got a balcony. It's like an old style. Have you ever been to the Miami High basketball gym?
I haven't been, but I've seen, because they do some of the Pro-Am leagues there in the off season. I've seen people standing, just watching from the balcony. It looks cool. It's just packed on top, and they're just watching from up top, just standing up.
Yeah, it's very field house like, with the roof and then the glass on the side with the sun coming in and all that. It's actually very, because obviously that school is 100 years old. I mean,
it's old.
I think that's the oldest school in Miami, I want to say, right?
I think so.
Historical landmark.
Yeah, it should be a historical landmark. I mean, the architecture in that school
did a major renovation in the last few years, millions of dollars, but it is a historical landmark, and it's timeless. It's awesome.
It's a beautiful, beautiful building, man. It really is amazing. But and that's the thing about this season. It's Silva, it's Duncan, it's Tyler, it's Nunn. All this stuff has just re-energized all of us. And I got to tell you, the front office, I mean, Anthony, to find all these guys, and three of them are nasty scorers. They can all shoot. That's the other thing that they've given Miami what you've covered for the last couple of years. This team couldn't score with a fistful of dollars in a whorehouse. I mean, it was a struggle for them to get to 95 points. These guys can get to 115 every night with no problem.
Yeah, I mean, they were among the worst in every offensive category last season. All of a sudden, they're number one in team shooting percentage. How does that happen in a span of, whatever months? The best shooting team in the league. So I think, like you said, for everything the front office has done wrong over the past 3 or 4 years, the thing they've done best is find these diamonds in the rough. It's a cliche, but it's true. They find these guys, they develop them, and they turn them into rotation players, and they continue to do it. And this year, I mean, like you said, Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson's playing big minutes, Chris Silva. They find these guys and they make them into players that can play and be and bring something. And it's just been, and then you add Jimmy to the mix, and all of a sudden this team is fighting for a top 4 seed in the East. So it's been, again, I was optimistic. We talked about this before the year. I was optimistic about this team. I thought they were going to be good, but they've been even better than I thought.
Yeah, no, you were more optimistic than I was about this team. And you had a hell of an article on Jimmy Butler, by the way. And I talked about Jimmy last week, that I was so impressed with his style of leadership and how he's come in and done whatever the team needs. He didn't just like take over and say, all right, everybody play off of me. No, that's not what he's done. And you kind of talked about it too in your article. I've been very impressed with the Jimmy Butler that's taken over here.
Yeah, and he says it. You know, you talk to him. He's like, all I care about is winning. If I'm winning, I'm happy. If I'm losing, I'm pissed off. And you see it. Like, it doesn't matter. He seems so secure kind of with his game. It doesn't matter if he scores 30 points. It doesn't matter if he scores 10 points. He just wants to win. And right now, this brand of basketball that he's playing is working. So he's going to continue it. You know, I talked to some guys on the team, and Bam, you know, I quoted Bam in the article, like, that Bam is on him to be more aggressive. Guys want him to be more aggressive at certain points, and he does. I mean, you see that in the Phoenix game a couple of weeks back. You know, in Phoenix, he scored 30 points in the first half, finished at 34.
You know,
so he can get his own offense, but he doesn't need to.
Anthony, that next day after that Phoenix game, that's when I talked about his leadership. And what I loved, what I explained to people was he watched them win without him while he obviously was having the wife with his girl, or the baby with his girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees, hey, guys are playing well, guys are in a groove. So he didn't take over. When he came in that game, he assisted everybody. He was supportive. He didn't go out and score 30 points. And then they hit a bump in the road. And they got smacked by Minnesota. And then they're going on this West Coast swing, and he knew the Lakers were the next day. So he said, you know what, my team's been in a little bit of a lull here the last couple games. Let me take over in this game early on, and let me set the tempo. And that's what he did in that Phoenix game, because he knew that the game the next night against the Lakers was going to be brutal and probably a loss. He wasn't going to allow them to lose to Phoenix. To me, his leadership really showed in that Phoenix game because he really picked his team up when they were kind of down in the last couple of games.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And, you know, that game was really, you know, obviously it's early in the year, but it was an important game. Because, like you said, that could be an 0-3 trip if he doesn't do that.
Right.
And, you know, the conversation could be totally different right now. But you even see it in games. Like, there'll be games where in the first half, you don't even notice Jimmy's on the court. And then, you know, third, fourth quarter, you know, the offense is going through him and he's forcing things at the rim. And he kind of plays, you know, more aggressively. Like, you see it. He picks his spots. He's a smart player. And he's doing what the team needs. He doesn't care about the numbers. He wants to win. And, you know, so far that's what they've been doing.
Anthony Chiang from the Miami Herald joining us here on the program. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chiang and follow his work there at the Miami Herald website or, of course, at your doorstep, too. That's always the other option there. Anthony, when you look at the maturity of this team, and they're young, and I'll tell you because one of the things that pissed me off about the Heat the last few years, even in the Big Three era, they would drop games that they're not supposed to. And the last couple years, the Magic and other games that you're sitting there going, what the hell are you guys doing? Why are you giving these damn games away? This team, and they're in the middle of this run, because I talked about this run here, that you got to go 4-1, 5-0 against all these clubs. And they've got
3-0
two
right now.
Right, they're 3-0 and they've got 2 left. And I love the maturity that so far through 12 games, the games they're supposed to win, they're winning them. And to me, that's enormous, because the last few years, this Heat team would frustrate me by giving, I'm telling you, from the Big Three to last year, they must have given away 30 games.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that could be the difference between, you know, it's crazy to say, but winning 50 games. I mean, this team, if they win the game they're supposed to, and they have a really good home record. I mean, last year they finished with a losing home record. They're 5-0 already this year at home. They've beaten, you know, the team they're supposed to beat. This team could win 50 games. And, you know, you look at the losses. You know, the first one was a second night of back-to-back to Minnesota on night. Andrew Wiggins, you know, hit 4 or 5 threes in the fourth quarter. Fine. And then you lose to Denver, one of the toughest places to play.
Yes.
You know, start of a trip. That's fine. And then the Lakers game, which you mentioned, that was probably, you know, that was end of a trip, back-to-back against LeBron. The Lakers will rest, I think, that 2 days off before the game. Those are all losses that you can say, okay, I get it. You know, you're not beating yourself up over those losses. So far, they've done, you know, they've won the game they're supposed to. They've won a few they probably weren't expected to. The Milwaukee game, the Houston game where they blew out the Rockets, and they're winning at home. You know, and if they continue this pattern, and they're 11-3 after the next 2 games. There's no reason this team, it's crazy to say, can finish with 50 or more wins. And they do that, they're probably a top 3 team in the East. So, it's interesting the way the season has started for sure, because all of a sudden you're talking about, okay, can they compete with Milwaukee and Philadelphia, at least in the regular season standings?
Are you still getting any idiots that still think Spo can't coach? I mean, outside of Dion Waiters. But outside of that, I mean, are you? Because I am still baffled, because for years I've obviously defended Spo, because I think I've never seen a guy adjust to so many different lineups over the years. And all the crap he went through post-Big Three with the blood clots and all that, and in, out, and players in and out, and he adjusted and changed up offenses. And then look what he's doing now with all these young guys and developing them. Are you still getting an idiot every once in a while that thinks Spo can't coach?
It's quieted down a lot, I would say. I used to get those emails like once or twice a week last few years, but now I think I've gotten one the entire year, maybe. I don't even remember. I think I might have gotten one. But yeah, you see the GM survey that came up even before the season began. They surveyed GMs and say who's the best head coach in the NBA, and Eric Spoelstra gets the second most votes behind Pop. I mean, that says something. The respect around the league that he has, that's kind of what matters, and he has a ton of respect. People know in the league how good of a coach he is. I think now, not that, fans knew that, but I think they're being reminded just how creative of a coach he is, and how much, he's not one to just stick with a style of play. Like, he adapts. I think that's what makes him so good. He adapts to the roster he has, and he's not afraid to tinker with things. That's his job. I know he changes a lot of rotations, and that's kind of what he gets criticism for, from game to game. But he likes experimenting with different combinations, and for the most part, it's worked for him over the years. And this year, he's found something that really works. And you're kind of seeing how good of a coach he is.
He is a great coach, is what he is, man. He has done just an absolute phenomenal job, and to develop all these guys and to get them all to play the way they're playing, and that's the thing also, Anthony. How the hell did this team develop this kind of chemistry this quickly when you added a whole bunch of new guys and a couple of older guys? And I can, Myers Leonard blending in because he's been in the league, I can understand that. But you have blended in all these other young guys seamlessly. That to me,
it's true. It looks like they've been playing together for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, to me,
and then you throw in,
coaching.
The off-court issues regarding James and Dion, and it hasn't affected this team at all. Right. For a lot of teams, that could be a big distraction. And, this team just continues to win games. And, and it's a young team. Like you said, there are some veterans, but a lot of the guys contributing are young.
Yeah. Oh, I think we lost you there. See if we can get Anthony Chang. We lost him there on the phone call. We will get Anthony Chang back on the phone there, and then we'll wrap it up with him on the phone call here. But it is impressive what the Miami Heat have done. The news on Mark Walton is not good. Okay, it's aggravated battery of a pregnant woman. Are you believing that? That is just crazy. All right, we're going to bring Anthony Chang back here after we had a little bit of a snafu there. Anthony, are you back, Anthony? Do we have you? You there? You set? I don't know. Do we have him?
I'm here.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I'm
finish your thought there that you were just saying.
I was saying that, they have this team looks like a team that's obviously played together for a few years, not just, coming together this offseason. And also, for a lot of teams, those off-court issues with James Johnson, Dion Waiters, it would have been a distraction for a lot of teams. I mean, those are two, key players, at least in the past, for this team, and for them to not even be playing, that could turn into a distraction. But this team just keeps on winning. So it is impressive because this is a pretty young roster. What they've been able to do and overcome the issues that kind of they've been presented. It's not just James and Dion. It's injuries to Justice, injuries to Derrick Jones. This cold going around the roster. It hasn't slowed down this team. So that's another encouraging aspect of kind of like what they've been able to do.
Anthony,
to start the year.
I don't want to give this guy any airtime because he's an idiot, but Dion Waiters, how does this end? Because the way I kind of understand this, at least when the Heat really doesn't want to do this whole thing where they release him and then break down the salary into several years because you already did that with Ryan Anderson, right? And then you don't want more cap space being taken up. You got to somehow get through this year and next year with Dion. And he's impossible to trade right now. Yeah. So what's the end game? Because he's not going to end up playing. So he won't end up being very happy not playing because right now, to be quite honest, they don't need him unless there's some serious injuries. There's no reason that you would play him and take any of your youth and future out of the lineup at this point in time. So how do you foresee all of this? How do they navigate through this soap opera? Because he doesn't look to me like a guy that's ever going to get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's, we talk about the great start, but, once the suspension is over, the issue is going to continue to loom over this team because the questions are going to come up. Okay, so what's the plan now with Dion? Is he going to be active? Is he going to play? Is he going to be around the team? Is he going to practice? I mean, that's not going away. I mean, right now it's kind of quieted down because he's not around the team, suspended. But come December 1, when he's eligible to play against Brooklyn, those questions are going to start up again. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. They're obviously, like you said, it's going to be tough to trade him unless you include him with another asset. But I can't see this team just, trading, for example, Justice Winslow just to get, to get off of Dion's deal. I just can't see that. And, a buyout, why would Dion agree to a buyout? I know he probably wants to play, but 2 years, $25 million, he's going to give some of that up. I doubt it. And then, to release him, then the Heat would still be on the hook for all that money over the next 2 years. Again, I just don't see that happening. So they're going to have to figure it out. I mean, I don't think there's an easy way out here, like you said. And, what's the answer? I don't know. Do you just wait until, this year you kind of deal with it as the year goes on, whether you keep him away from the team or he just doesn't play, and then in the offseason you try to trade him when he's an expiring contract? Maybe that's the answer. But, yeah, I just don't see this. This marriage is going to continue whether they like it or not for now. And they're going to have to find a way to kind of deal with each other.
And that's the problem, that the Heat can do their part. I just don't think he'll ever do his, and he'll make it difficult on them. And he doesn't understand that by making it difficult on him and on them, it's going to make it difficult on him because he won't be able to get out. And if he could just be the good soldier and he would have kept his mouth shut and played his ass off and be the team player and all that good stuff, maybe somebody that needs a guard trades for him. You don't care about what you get in return. You're just trying to get back maybe a salary you can get out of in the next year or two also. That's all. Right. Yeah, but now nobody's going to give you anything except a bigger headache in return. It's the only thing that, give us your headache and we'll give you ours. And then that's not going to fly either.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough situation. For me, the way I see maybe it could happen for them to get off the contract before it expires is you wait until he's an expiring contract, whether it's in the offseason you trade him or next year. But again, that means you have to get through this season. And, how is Dion, is Dion going to be a good soldier when he comes off the suspension? History shows that might not be the case. So, again, it's going to be an issue that's going to continue despite the success to loom over this organization, because once he comes off suspension, the questions are going to start up again, and it's going to be what's the plan with Dion? So, teams have kept guys away before, whether it's the Cavaliers with J.R. Smith, the Houston last year with Carmelo before they waived him. So teams have done it before. It's just it's a fragile thing because Players Association get involved. So it's going to be definitely something to watch here over the next few months how they handle this.
Follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chang. Go to the Herald, catch his exceptional work covering the Miami Heat. Really good article on Jimmy Butler that he just wrote. And, of course, go to Herald.com. Anthony, as always, my man, enjoy your day off. Enjoy the game tomorrow. And thank you for taking some time and talking a little Heat here on the program.
Always, Big O. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. There you go. Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald. Good stuff there. Excellent interview, as always, from Mr. Chang. Excellent dealership. Toyota of Hollywood, the finest dealership on the planet. And they've got the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event going on right now, folks. Like the Corolla LE, which lists at $21,000, $12,775. 2019 Camry LE, listing at $26,000, $17,775. They've got over 1,500 Toyotas in stock and on sale, and you can get a special introductory savings on the 2020 models. It's the official #1 Toyota dealership, #1 volume Toyota dealership in the country. Open till midnight. Toyota of Hollywood, 1841 North State Road 7, just a couple blocks south of that big, beautiful guitar on the turnpike.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
All right, we are back. Sir Mark Walton has been released by the Miami Dolphins after being charged with aggravated battery of a pregnant woman. The story reads, the Dolphins have released running back Mark Walton after the team was made aware of a police matter on Tuesday morning. Chris Grier said in a statement, we hold our players to a high standard and these matters very seriously. We will have no further comment at this time, Grier said. The Sun Sentinel Walton was arrested at 4:15 a.m. by Davie Police Department after he punched a woman who is 5 weeks pregnant with his child. Wow. Walton reportedly pushed her against a wall, punched her multiple times in the face, causing her left eye to swell. A police document obtained by ESPN reported Walton was charged with aggravated battery of a pregnant woman. According to the Sun Sentinel, Walton reportedly learned of the pregnancy 2 days before his arrest. Walton was nearing the end of a 4-game suspension he received from the NFL for violating its conduct and substance abuse policies. The suspension was related to his 3 off-season arrests between January and March. During his suspension without pay, Walton was allowed to attend team meetings and be in the Dolphin facility, but he could not practice. He was eligible to return on December 2nd after Miami's Week 13 game against the Eagles. In August, Walton received 6 months of non-reporting probation as part of a plea deal to resolve his 3 off-season cases. His probation was vacated after he met with court conditions. The Bengals drafted Walton in 2018 from Miami, cut him in the offseason following his 3rd arrest. The Dolphins signed him in May, but said there would be zero-tolerance policy. It appears the team stayed true to its word, though 7 games this season, Walton recorded 53 carries, 201 yards. What a moron. You punched a woman several times in the face that's pregnant. You're the dumbass that got her pregnant. So whatever argument you were getting in with her or whatever happened, that right there. You know what? This just proves that all the other arrests, there's no miscommunication, there's no accident here, there's no mistake here. Again, you can make a mistake. I can make a mistake. We all can make a mistake and get arrested one time or whatever. 3 times? It's not a mistake. 3 times, you're a freaking criminal. And the 4th time now, you're a criminal. And we're not talking about jaywalking. We're not talking about you didn't pay a traffic ticket. No. We're talking about some serious stuff here. You are punching a pregnant woman several times in the face. What makes you do that? Even if you want to punch her, you cannot punch her. You don't punch her. Men don't need to punch women. Wow. Now I root for everything bad to happen to you from here on out. Okay? And I would imagine that the judge that threw out and you served no time and non-reporting probation, boy, that judge must be regretting it right now. Because your ass would have been better off being in jail. That way women don't get hurt or pregnant. Because the last thing I want is Mark Walton reproducing too. Okay? Because if that's Mark Walton, we don't need any more Mark Waltons in this world. All right? That's fine. We can do without men that hit women. I know I can. I don't need to have any of those kind of people in this world. We're good without those kind of scumbags. And that's what you are now, Mark. If you're beating women, like that report says, then you're a scumbag. And I hope you rot in jail. All right? I hope they beat you in jail, too. Way worse than you beat her. That's what I hope. I have no sympathy now for that. I'm done with that guy. You beat women, you beat children, you beat animals. You're done in my book. I want no part with you whatsoever. Wow, what a total scumbag. I feel bad for the Dolphins now. Time they gave him a break. They gave him a chance he did not deserve. That's the other thing about this with Mark Walton. This whole thing, everybody deserves a second chance. Well, sometimes you regret it. And there you go. I mean, you had 3 arrests. This is your 4th arrest. Think about that. How many of you have gone your entire lives without an arrest? I mean, give me a break, dude. It's pretty easy not to get arrested. It's really easy not to ever hit a woman. That's kind of the easiest thing to do in the world. But I guess for some people, like scumbag Mark Walton, yeah. What an absolute piece of garbage. Tell you. Oh, man. That is just terrible. I don't even know what I want to segue into after that one. It just makes me sick to my stomach. People that hit women. Oh, Lordy. All right, Manny Navarro will be joining us, by the way, at 1 o'clock. We will have our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. You haven't been to Caneswear? 2511 South University Drive. Get on down there. You want to buy some Canes, Dolphins, Heat, Marlins, Panthers, Inter Miami, and tell Brett and all the great people that we sent you and that you heard it here on the podcast. We will have our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report at 1 o'clock with Manny Navarro. Bill Lindsay is going to stop by at 2 o'clock. We'll talk a little Panthers with Bill Lindsay as the Panthers are back in action tonight. 25 points and their 10-5-5 record going up against the 10-6-4 Philadelphia Flyers, who have 24 points. They're only 1 point behind the Florida Panthers in that race in the conference. So the boys have got to get it going. I haven't heard yet who is starting in goal, if Bob is starting in goal or is, what's it called, the youngster going to start in goal.
If I had to guess with the number of days off, Bob's got to be in there, right?
I don't know. Maybe Monty gets an opportunity. I don't know. I haven't seen – I have not looked it up yet, but I'll look it up here on Twitter and see if there's any news by the writers on who's starting in goal tonight. But you're probably right that Bob would get the start since they've been off for several days. But I am looking for it here and see
if you just like standard operating procedure, that would be the deal, right?
Yeah.
Your number one's had days off. You put him there.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You're right. You're right about that. I mean, it should. Now, I don't know if they will. That's the question. It's not like he had this incredible game the last time out. So if you want to go with Monty and see where Monty is at, then you can do it. But I have not seen what's happening tonight in goal. I will look it up here. I'm looking at the Panther feed, and I don't see any of the reporters putting out anything if they know who is starting. So there you go. That's the one thing that I've been interested in for this game tonight is who's going to start. Is it going to be Bob or is it going to be Monty? And it's kind of a catch-22, right? Because you want Bob to start, you want Bob to kick ass because he's the veteran. You paid all that money. $70 million for 10 years. You're paying him, or 7 years. I'm sorry. You're paying him a lot of money, right? But if Monty becomes the better guy, then you've now got your future. The problem is now you've got an albatross in Bobrovsky's contract. And that, my friends, is a major problem because you don't want that because that would be bringing this team down in a big-time way. So we'll see if that's the case. But I don't know who is starting tonight. I have not seen it yet. Maybe Bill Lindsay will have the answer for us. Jameson Olive put out the lines. Did not put anything on the goalie. So I don't see anything there from him. I am going through all of this, and I don't see anything at all at the moment. But I'll keep looking, and if something does happen, we will pass it on to you here on the program. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. Let's see. Ray says, what can we say about players that hit a woman, period, pregnant or not? He needs to be locked up for years, period. I agree. Mark Walton is a complete scumbag. Ray, I so agree. There is a police report that's good enough for me, plus this guy has a bad track record. So we got the listeners going back and forth on the text line. If there's enough evidence for him to be charged, then screw him, Go Gators says. Myron Sanchez says, Go Gators, I read it before I posted it here, but it's all good. So they're all going back. Crazy what the F Guillermo is putting on the chat board there on YouTube. On our accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, we got, let's see, what else do we have here on the accidentlawfirm.com text line? Big O, Dolphin Twitter, and quite a few podcast and media members are saying, take 2 in the first round. Are they insane? What responsible organization would risk your chances on a prospect who wouldn't even be able to demonstrate his recovery late in March? Are they wedded to preseason takes on the kid or just denial? Thanks, Pat. It's desperation, my friend. It's what I told you in in the last hour before we talked to Anthony Chang. It's desperation. It makes you think and do things that you shouldn't. And I love Tua the passer, but the guy can't stay healthy, and he won't stay healthy. He's Sam Bradford. He's Sam Bowie. Now, if you want to take him, go ahead. But in my book, look, you want to take him with your late first-round pick or second-round pick, and you want to take a gamble, I'm all right with that. I get it. You got 14 picks, but those first couple of picks in the first rounds, no way. No way I'm taking, because I know you can get a great left tackle, a great defensive end, a shutdown corner, a number one wide receiver. You can get the other four positions outside of quarterback that are extremely important for any football team. I'd rather you try to get with your first two first-round picks impact players that are going to help you out right away and are not injury-prone. Because the second you take Tua, that guy could get injured walking to the podium. Okay? All right? He can blow out his shin as he's trying to shake hands with Goodell. I'm not trusting that kid. He's a phenomenal young man. He's a great passer, but he can't stay healthy. And I've seen this story, man. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. I've watched the Yatil Greens, and I've watched the Sam Bradfords. I already told you this. I've watched the Sam Bowies. This guy is that. He has 3 surgeries in less than 2 seasons at a lower level of football. Where he is going to go to a higher level, where they're bigger, stronger, faster, and they hit harder? No. No. He's not lasting. Let's see. I'm glad you checked yourself on Flores by saying you need another year. You said it yourself. You didn't expect other teams to be so bad. What he's done isn't that special. You made the same mistake with Gase. You let your emotions for the ride. I did make the mistake with Gase. But with what he is doing is special. That's where you're dead wrong, because he has no talent. Cincinnati has talent. Okay? They should be winning some games. Atlanta now started winning. They should be winning a lot more games. Washington only has 1 win. They should win more games. All those teams have way more talent than Miami. So to say that he's not doing something special is dead-ass wrong. I'll tell you I'm dead wrong for going with Gase after the first year. Yeah, I got no problem admitting when I'm wrong. I'm good with that. But you're wrong if you think that what he's doing is not special when they have no talent. Big O, show sponsor idea, getting a cigar shop sponsor, getting followers a discount code for buying from them, Eugene and Homestead. All right? We will try to do that. Why not? We will have cigar sponsors. I'm just still working on all those kind of things. So, yes. But we have all kinds of things planned out that we've been working on. And we have designed several shirts. We're going to have a merchandise area on the website. Looking forward to it. We got some pretty cool stuff that we've come up with that's fun. And I can't wait to share it with you guys. You're going to like it. It's a good way of supporting the show and helping us out here. But it's going to be pretty cool, the stuff that we designed out there. Well, my ideas. I didn't design crap because I'm a terrible. I can't draw for crap. But I tried, and then I told the artist, this is like my idea, and then they were like, okay, we're running with it. And then the real artist will take over, okay? The concept we came up with, but I'm not a good artist, man. I can't tell you that I'm the guy that can draw magic. Manny Navarro is going to join us at the top of the hour. We'll talk a little Canes. We got some news, too, when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes. Got a bunch of news when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes. I got a bunch of things also that I want to talk about on the show. Very interesting auction that's going to happen. I got a little sum on the cap issue that developed. What else? You like a party? I like a party. Everybody likes a party. We'll talk about a party that is coming up. Some stuff on the Tua injury that I want to share. Last night, Luka Doncic, 42 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists, in a win over the Spurs. And I saw this. This is amazing. Doncic is one of only 2 players who have had 40-point triple-doubles at the age of 20 or younger. You know who the other guy is? LeBron. So Doncic and LeBron in the same company. That's pretty impressive. Last night, KC defeated the Chargers 24-17. Phillip Rivers really, if he would have been wearing a Santa Claus outfit last night, would have been perfect. Running around with the beard, handing off presents all over the place.
Gifting all over the place.
I mean, that would have been great. He's running around. He's got a belly, big red thing with the boots and the beard, and he's just throwing interceptions left and right. That would have been perfect because that would have been the proper attire for the giving mood that he was in last night. But like I told you earlier, I think it's time. They need to plan for the future over there with the Los Angeles Chargers because the future is no longer Phillip Rivers. I think the old kind of took its place yesterday on the show. That I can tell you that. At least that's what it looked like to me. All right. Let me tell you a little bit about Caneswear. We've been telling you about Caneswear. I want to say Brett and the great people at Caneswear have been sponsors of ours for at least 7, maybe 8 years, something along those lines. And it's more than a store. It's a Caneswear experience. They've got everything with the Canes logo on it, from pens and hats and shirts and those starter jackets. It's getting cool now. You know, we're going to have a couple of those cool days. You can get those classic starters jackets. They've got them, and in several different colors, too. So if you want the orange one, you want the green one, you want the white one, they've got them. They've got the jerseys, the polos, the T-shirts, the hoodies, the hats, and you can get all of these brands in one place. Adidas, Columbia, Starter, Dime Life, Da Nation, Top of the World, Hook and Tackle, and, of course, Caneswear exclusives. Go see Brett and all the great people out there. And, of course, you can get Dolphins, Panthers, Marlins, Heat, and even Inter Miami shirts. They ordered jerseys, too. They ordered like 2,000 jerseys. So when they get out, you can go to Caneswear to get them. If you're like me, you bleed orange and green, go to Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Caneswear at Miami Fanwear. That's the spot where fans like me shop.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodzie now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodzie can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Yes, sir. We are ready to rock and roll. Man, this is hour number 3 already. This is crazy. I just, and it's weird, right? Because we don't do 27 minutes of commercials, promos, and traffic reports and updates and all that. And so an hour will go by quickly in radio because you're not on half the time. You're off half the time. And here we may take 5 minutes of breaks in an hour.
No, we're on all the time.
No, I know, but we take about 5 minutes of a break in an hour, okay? At the top and the bottom, we take maybe 2 minutes each, 2.5, whatever. That's it. And we're already in hour 3, which is crazy to think that this is hour 3 already, and we've done already in our 2 hours. It's like a 4-hour talk show already. The amount of talk that we've had there.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It's great stuff. All right, we have
Mr. Navarro.
Yes, sir. Our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report with Manny Navarro. You could follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch his work at The Athletic. But we thank, of course, Brett and all the great people at Caneswear for making it happen here on the program, as always. And Manny, I can't tell you on the air, but I've got something else in the works for you, brother. But
you do?
Yes,
right.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. This is going to expand, bro. We're going to expand big time here. But anyway, my man outside of the Canes beat, but it is a Cane. Dude, what the hell is going on with Mark Walton?
Yeah, it's unbelievably sad story, man, of a guy who just can't get his you-know-what together.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. But did you see that at the U? Was he like a moron? Because he was never in trouble at the U. It looked like he was just fine at the U, like he was a decent kid at the U. Or was he kind of thuggish or whatever behind the scenes? Or was this brewing? Did you see some of this coming? Or what the hell? Because the second he became a pro moron too.
Right. I think, well, part of what happened with him with UM is he had Ice Harris with him for a little while, who was his high school coach at Booker T. Washington High School. So he had people around to sort of keep him in check. My understanding is Mark's always sort of dealt with like emotional issues. He's one of those ESE kids, in elementary school and needed sort of somebody there to help him deal with his emotions and things that were going on. So the fact that he's now a grown adult, that he's dealing with these issues, when you know the background and you know some of the things that he did growing up as a kid, because he was an emotional person, you see why it's happening now as an adult. It's just progressed. It's progressed to that next level. And some guys, unfortunately, this is just who they are, and it's very hard to change them. And especially somebody like Mark, who, I think has people that love him and care about him, but at the same time too, they haven't been able to save him from himself and from doing these things. And sometimes, careers get derailed by it. I mean, there's other athletes in this city who have dealt with those issues. Some of them overcome it. Some of them have people around that keep them in check. Other ones don't. And it's something that's not, I think, talked about a whole lot, because we always just look at, well, this guy was arrested for this and this guy was arrested for that. All of these guys have different issues that they deal with. And unfortunately, Mark Walton is just one of those cases where he can't get it together.
Wow, man, it's baffling to me. You get a second opportunity and you got a chance here, even in your backyard now. You get to play where you played high school, college, now the NFL. Hell, you could become the starter here the way you've been playing. And you go and do this? It bugs me. All right, let's move over to current news. Any QB transferring news we got going on or brewing? What's the deal?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's always the season now, right? In college football, everybody transfers when they're sitting on the bench. There really hasn't been anything new. I mean, we've asked questions regarding, are you having conversations with quarterbacks at Miami about transferring? Because obviously, if you're N'Kosi Perry, you're good enough to play somewhere at this level, and you won some games, but you're not going to see the field as long as Jarren Williams is healthy. So I think, that's going to be up to N'Kosi to decide what he wants to do and what's best for his career. But I know this. I know Dan Enos is a N'Kosi Perry fan, and he really does like the kid a lot. He really thinks he's got some great skills. And I think N'Kosi's done, you talk about kids dealing with issues, right? I think N'Kosi has outgrown a lot of the issues that held him back last year. And he's showing, he made the honor roll at Miami. He's been a good sort of citizen, a good teammate. He cheers Jarren Williams on behind the scenes. It's not fake, it's real. And, I think the coaching staff wants N'Kosi to stick around, but it's going to be up to him at the end of the season to decide. I mean, schools are always looking for quarterbacks. I'm willing to bet he could definitely start at he could transfer to a program and be a starting quarterback if he can graduate. I don't know. That's the mystery question. He's only been in school for 3 years. But if he's advanced on his studies and he's caught up and close to graduating, maybe that's something he explores. I don't know. And then as far as Tate Martell, I mean, again, he's buried. I mean, he's buried on the depth chart. And he tried to play receiver. Didn't happen. Didn't work out for him. Wasn't good at it. And he's gone back to quarterback now. And I think, again, all of these kids want to play. All of them want to get on the field. All of them dream about making the NFL. Sometimes you just have to be smart enough to realize, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not good enough for the NFL. Maybe I'm not good enough to make that next level. How can I help my team out? How can I be a good teammate? How can I win? How can I, just get my degree and do everything that I have to do? And that's a tough transition for these athletes, especially when they're young and they're told that they're great. Tate Martell was the National Player of the Year when he was in high school. So to him, it's going to have to come down to him realizing that to play quarterback on a Power 5 team, it's probably unlikely going to happen. And so if he can accept that, and then he accepts going to maybe a smaller program that's willing to give him those opportunities, then maybe he transfers. But I don't know. I don't know what's going through his mind. I just know that Dan Enos likes both of those kids, likes the maturity that they both have, and he thinks that it would be great to keep both of them. But the likelihood of that happening, I doubt it. I would say for sure one of those guys is going to hit the transfer portal this offseason.
Yeah, and I don't blame them either if that happens. 'Cause if you're not getting an opportunity, you got to move on. But that, on the flip side, I know that that's kind of a bad thing, but it's also a good thing for Miami, right? Because then they will be able to go out and try to get a kid for the future now. They'll be able to bring in a freshman that they can groom to take over in 2 years after Jaren leaves.
Yeah, well, they've got Peyton Matoka, who they took at the end. That was handpicked by Dan Enos. As soon as he got the job in January, he went and got Peyton to sign, and he's running the scout team now. And he's a guy who maybe with 2 or 3 years of grooming, maybe when he's a junior or senior, in a pinch, you need him to play, he can do that for you. But the guy that they're excited about for sure in this next class is Tyler Van Dyke, who's been committed for a while. Kid out of Connecticut. He's a top 10 quarterback, 6'4", 212, smart kid, baseball player, has a gun, can throw in the 90s on a baseball field on the mound. So, he's a talented kid, and I think that's the future. I mean, once Jaren Williams is ready to go, I'm pretty sure that things are going to set up for Tyler Van Dyke to take over.
We'll see if that happens. All right, players decommitting. I guess, unfortunately, they got a couple of those.
Yeah, you had a couple kids within the last couple of days that decommitted. One of them flipped to Ole Miss. That was a cornerback, Darren Branch, that they had out of Louisiana. He flipped to Ole Miss. And then you had the local kid, Miami Northwestern, Marcus Fleming, who decided to decommit after he took a trip to Nebraska. It's funny. People always look at the decommitment thing and, oh, man, Miami's doing a terrible job recruiting. I wrote about this in my story yesterday for The Athletic on Jalen Herald. I've come to realize, as time's gone on here, so many of these kids commit early in the process because they want to hold a spot. I mean, think about it. If you're in their shoes and you get an offer from Miami or Florida State or Florida, and the coaches are pressuring you, hey, commit, you're going to commit because you want to have a scholarship to that school. And I think as long as you play well your senior year, Florida, Miami, or Florida State's going to keep you. They're going to want you to have a spot. Now, what happens is, and it's a two-way street, some of these kids don't play well their senior year. And even though Miami doesn't come out and say, hey, we're dropping such and such player, they make it clear to the kids by not calling them, hey, you know what? We don't really want you to come anymore. And so it's one of those like ugly breakup type things where, they just stop calling each other and that's it. And the kid decommits and goes somewhere else. And then people are like, well, he dropped Miami. Well, no, Miami might have dropped him. In the end, this thing, National Signing Day, the early signing period, all that stuff, because of the early signing period, I think you've seen more decommitments because kids are trying to just lock up a spot, as soon as they get an offer that they like. And then what it becomes is, okay, well, now it's November, December. I'm taking my trips before the early signing period, December 19th. And you know what? Now all of a sudden I fit in better at Nebraska. This kid transferred out at this position, and now I can play more at Nebraska. Or this kid, they have this guy going to the NFL this year, so I'm going to go to Alabama now because Alabama needs me. And that's all that happens. I mean, the rosters are in flux and decommitments and commitments. It's a joke. I mean, when kids commit 2-3 years in advance, I tell people, I'm like, worry about the month before signing day. That's when the commitments count because at that point, kids can't, they have to kind of get locked in somewhere because the coaches are counting scholarships and deciding, okay, this is how much room we have left. That's when it really matters. The commitments in November and in early December. And that's the period that we're in now. And that's why you're seeing these decommitments.
All right. Brevin, is he coming back this week?
Brevin was at practice this week, and he's been there since Sunday doing things. I mean, obviously we don't get to see the extent of what he's doing, but Manny said he's optimistic that he's going to play this week against FIU. And, if I'm Brevin Jordan, I'm a semifinalist for the Mackey Award. Hell yeah, I want to play against FIU and Duke and catch, 20 passes in those two games and beef up my stats. Brevin's got an opportunity here to be a first-round pick after 2020. And I think, awards, all that kind of stuff, preseason All-American, all of those things are good to getting the NFL's attention and getting these guys to, all these guys want to win awards, dude. I mean, if you're a great player like Brevin was coming out of high school, the number one tight end in the country, You want to go to college and you want to win the Mackey Award and you want to be an All-American. And so, he's going to – I think if he's healthy enough to play, which it looks like he is, he's going to play this week. And I would expect him to say, throw me the damn ball and let me score 3 touchdowns against FIU this week.
How much do these guys look forward to this game? Is it as personal, or is that all hype that we talk a lot about because they've played high school together and they know each other and all that garbage we talk about? Does that really exist?
No, it really doesn't. I mean, I think, we're all looking for storylines, right? We're all looking for something to get people excited, even as fans. Fans, oh, yeah, those guys, they hated each other in high school. Man, I'll tell you what, if they hate each other on game day and you see them, swinging at each other, throwing helmets at each other like those guys did back in 2006, that's one thing. But these kids have no connection to that UM-FIU brawl. I think they might have been 5 or 6 years old when that happened. And so, for them, even playing in Marlins Park, the side of the old Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I don't mean
the players know that's where the Orange Bowl once stood, but none of those guys ever set foot. I mean, we ask guys today, did you ever go to the Orange Bowl? Nope. Have you been to Marlins Park? Yeah, I've been there to watch a baseball game. These kids do not have any idea, other than watching Billy Corben's, U movies, 30 for 30, what the hell the Orange Bowl was about,
Right.
And so that's their appreciation of it. That's it.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Speaking of that, you wrote about a path to the Orange Bowl. It is crazy that they still can make it to the Orange Bowl. Explain.
Okay, so essentially this is the deal. The ACC sends a team to the Orange Bowl no matter what, okay? It's going to happen. If Clemson makes the college football playoff, which at this point we all expect them to, right? They're gonna cruise in the ACC title game over whoever it is they play from the Coastal, whether it's Pittsburgh, Virginia, or Virginia Tech, the 3 teams left in contention. If they get to the ACC title game and then get run off the field by Clemson, the question becomes, does the Orange Bowl take the team that just got killed by Clemson, or do they take a Miami Hurricanes team who ended the season on a 5-game winning streak with wins, essentially impressive wins over FIU and Duke, where they dominated those teams? So that's how Miami has a chance to get in the Orange Bowl. Now, I will say this. I think if Virginia Tech wins the Coastal Division, runs the table the next 2 weeks, beats Pittsburgh, beats Virginia, and has the win over Miami earlier this season, I think there's probably a good chance that the Orange Bowl, even if they lose to Clemson in the ACC title game, takes Virginia Tech. But I think if it's Virginia or Pittsburgh that goes, Miami beat both of those teams, and they haven't exactly dominated this season. I know Virginia was ranked earlier in the year and all that, but I think if Virginia or Pittsburgh make it to the ACC title game and get crushed by Clemson, then I think there's a better chance that Miami goes.
Any injuries to be concerned about going into the FIU game?
No. I asked about D. Wiggins because he kind of was a little gimpy after the Louisville game after he caught that second touchdown pass. He didn't play a whole lot, but he says his knee is fine, and the fact that they brought him out to talk to us today tells me that he's fine. Otherwise, they wouldn't have. And I guess the other one was Brevin, which we've already covered. And, there's guys dealing with things, but Manny talked about it. The bye week sort of came at a good time for this team, to kind of heal up and get healthy. And I think they're going to be pretty healthy going into this FIU game for sure.
The Wide Right Podcast, my man. Tell them about it and tell them what you're talking about.
Yeah, Wide Right Podcast. If you're a Canes fan, be sure to check it out. I actually have an interview with our friend Randall Thrill Hill, who 30 years ago this weekend, I don't know if you remember, 3rd and 43 against Notre Dame. 30 years ago this weekend, in the 1989 season when Miami beat Notre Dame 27-10 in the Orange Bowl. I have a conversation with him about the 3rd and 43 conversion, and we talk about the Orange Bowl. We talk about the fact that Miami didn't win the Coastal for the 14th time in the last 15 years. They're not going to go to the ACC title game. That was a topic. But, I mean, look, every Monday and Thursday we put out a new podcast. You can download it at Apple Podcasts or by getting a subscription to The Athletic. And, again, I always tell people it's probably one of the best products you can get because it's got everything, not just Miami Hurricanes coverage, but the entire nation, as well as soccer in Europe and everything else. You get access to all that stuff. MMA, NASCAR, it's got a ton of stuff.
There you go. So it's the Wide Right Podcast, and make sure you follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work at The Athletic MIA. Manny, as always, my man, thank you for taking some time and dropping the knowledge, baby. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. We'll talk.
You got it, baby. Be good. There you go. Oh, yeah. You say it. All right, welcome back. I like it.
Little bit disturbing.
What?
That those kids don't know anything about 58-0 and
but that's normal. That's normal.
I know. It's
They're
just
young, bro. They don't care about it.
I
and
know.
They don't care about the Orange Bowl. It just doesn't matter to them. It doesn't even exist.
I get
They never
it.
saw it. They never experienced it. It's, it's just one of those deals.
The thing is, that's that place, that
I get
time,
it.
that thing, that's what makes us us.
Well, what they used to be.
Wow.
They're not that anymore.
What we aspire to be.
Yeah, they aspire to get back there, but they haven't gotten back there, and I don't know if they will. I'm hoping. But at the moment, they're definitely not that. That's the problem, that we keep living in the past and trying to recapture it, and there's no recapturing. You got to make your own mark.
The Road
And I think-
Warriors beating number 1 7 times in a row. It just, what a great time.
Yeah. No, I got you. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, you can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. And on Instagram at Big O Radio Show. And, of course, on the YouTube chat board there. If you're watching on YouTube, you can do that also and chat away on the tube with us there and have a little fun. We thank Manny Navarro for joining us here on the show. Got a bunch of things that I want to get to here and talking a little bit about the Canes and getting ready for FIU. And it's listen, I want to see them create new memories. I'd love to see them become a dominant program once again. I don't think we're ever going to recapture what we saw in the 80s and 90s. But it would be nice if they can get back to at least every once in a while being a contender.
Some semblance of that, okay?
Yeah, it's hard to
every once in a while, just touch it for a year or two,
It's just so hard to expect them being a private school when, unless they're paying players, because everybody else is.
That 2001-2 run, those three teams, those were, for every intents and purposes, they had 3 national championships right there.
Yeah, but that was almost 20 years ago, dude.
Yeah, you know what? That's
the thing that you got to realize that was 20 years ago. That was a generation ago.
Wow.
None of these kids know about that. Forget the 80s. Forget the 90s. They don't even know 2001. Okay, because they were infants. That's how bad it is. Some of them may have been
probably
just
don't
sperm.
even realize that we're the reason that instant replay was instituted in college football because of that Ohio State game.
Well, maybe if they watch 30 for 30, they learn those kind of tidbits. That's about the only way that they'll know.
Thank you, Billy.
Yeah, that's it. Did you guys see this? Michael Jordan made a bet with a college teammate of his back in college. He lost out on a bet, and he ended up paying the guy in a check. The guy still has the check. So now...
All right, how much was it for?
So now he's going to auction this check out. And it says, it's no secret Michael Jordan loves to gamble. and the former University of North Carolina student who won a seemingly insignificant bet against the Hall of Famer more than 30 years ago, has managed to turn the minuscule earnings into a massive investment. A check that was signed by Jordan back in 1984 when he was still playing at North Carolina is currently on the auction block at Golden Auctions. TMZ shared the background story on the $5 check, and it's pretty awesome. Back on February 27th of 84, Jordan won a string of games playing pool against a fellow student in the basement of the Granville Towers in UNC's campus. A friend of the guy Jordan was playing against thought MJ was hustling his buddy. So he stepped in and beat Jordan a few games in a row. Jordan supposedly became irate when he was only up $5 and decided to cash out, at which point the gentleman who owed the $5 came up with a clever idea. The guy knew Jordan was likely going to the NBA and going to be a superstar. So he asked if he could write him a check for $5 instead of paying cash. Jordan agreed. When MJ later signed the check and cashed it, the original was returned to the person who wrote it. He held on to it for all these years. Golden says Jordan's signature has been authenticated, and you can see a photo of the check, and they've got it there. Obviously, the story is tame compared to some of the legendary MJ gambling tales that we've heard, but you have to give the loser credit for thinking to pay Jordan with the check. That was unbelievable forward thinking. Now, we don't know yet how much it's gone up for auction, but if you had to imagine, it's going to go for six figures, right? I would figure it'd go for about $100,000. A check written by Jordan, maybe 50 grand, 75.
You factor in the gambling, you factor in doing something different than playing a skins game or whatever. It's pool in college before he became Air Jordan. That, yeah.
Does it get to $100,000, you think?
You know what? It's a piece of paper. It's not like a pair of shoes he wore or something like that, but you're going to see 30, 50 thou, I would guess.
Oh, easy.
Right?
Easy. Yeah, there's a fanatical Michael Jordan fan that's got money that he craps it. And for him, 30,000 is like you and me spending $3.
You know what? Exactly what you're saying.
That's what's going to happen.
They say that whatever item it is, whatever somebody's willing to pay, that's the value.
Right.
And like you said, a fanatical guy that has just probably a room full of Michael Jordan stuff.
I think it goes over 50, and I think it could get to 100,000. I really do. I think some fanatic will buy that check. And again,
if he's fanatical and he's willing to throw that money, I bet he's got a nice room of Michael Jordan stuff
for
already.
That guy,
right?
For that guy to ask for a check at that moment, how genius is that dude? That guy had the foresight to say, yeah, nah, you know what? Hey, Michael, can you give me a check instead? And Michael, considering how private he is, at that time, maybe he wasn't as private, and he obviously did not imagine what he was. Right, what he was going to become, right? Because in college, you don't know. Yeah, you know, I don't want to write a check because I'm going to become the biggest star from this point on ever in sports, which basically he is the biggest star since 1984. Right? I would say it's Michael Jordan. I would have to say it's Michael Jordan. Any bigger star than Michael?
From a global standpoint?
No. Well, soccer will always kill us. But I'm just saying in the United States.
I'm saying when you factor in Nike, his logo, everything, Michael probably is.
That's what I'm saying.
Global, like everybody knows that.
Yeah.
It's like the Yankee brand.
Right.
It's Michael flying through the air with his legs. Everybody knows.
Iconic. So it's iconic as it gets. So I don't know if there's a more popular athlete ever from 1984 on. And he did not, obviously he did not expect to become that, because then he might have not written that check If Michael knew what he was going to be, he'll never write that check.
You know what Michael was thinking? Because he's a college kid. I get to keep my $5 cash in my pocket. Yeah,
Right,
you could
at
have
the
this
moment.
piece of paper.
Yeah. Hey, man, $5 in 84 goes pretty far. You probably go to the movies. You know, you can do a lot of things. You can have a good lunch for $5.
You could have put 5 or 6 gallons of gas in your car.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely can do that. Definitely. You can get far with $5 back in 84. $5 was a decent bet in 84.
You could get a whole meal at
Especially for a
McDonald's, Burger
college
King,
kid.
whatever, and get $1 or $2 back.
Yeah, especially for a college kid. Hells to the yeah. You can do all of that. No doubt about it.
Or you could go to Nickel Beer Night and get 100 beers.
Yeah, no, you're right. All right, let me tell you about EJD Construction. Go get Eric and John right now. Call them if you want to redo something in that home of yours. Custom home construction, major home remodeling. Call Eric right now, 305-318-4978. Fully insured, $2 million liability, $1 million workers' comp. A communication with the owners and architects, second to none. Shell Construction in-house, that's how they keep the cost down low. So if you want to redo that man cave, anything, the kitchen, you name it, call EJD Construction. I've seen it firsthand. 305-318-4978. EJD Construction.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET. On 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
We are back, ready to rock and roll. We thank Manny Navarro for joining us on the program. We've got the draft coming up in a couple of months. Remember, we've got our link on Twitter. And go to our Twitter page at Big O Show. The link is there, and you can reach out to NorCal, to Mark. And he's got more rooms now available at the hotel, bigger group for us. We are going to dominate a hotel. So if you want the room rates, the group rates, go to our Twitter page at Big O Show and check it out and reach out to Mark and join us, man. Stay with us in the same hotel. And obviously, 3 days of rocking at Tommy Rockers we're going to have for the draft. It's going to be awesome.
April 23rd. Funny, Zach Thomas away. 5 months, 4 days, 54.
There you go. Nice. I like it. I like it. Nothing wrong with that, man. That is a beautiful thing, man.
To help him cheat an election.
There you go. All right. Nice job there. Let's see. What do we have on the accidentlawfirm.com text line? Let's see what you got here, sir. Browns aren't that good, are they? NorCal says. NorCal listening right now, in fact. No, they're not. They are a troubled team. They are undisciplined. They make mistakes. Miami will have a chance. They shouldn't win the game because Cleveland has way more talent than Miami. But Cleveland does some stupid things. So there's a shot. Yeah, there's a shot. Just a slim one because they're way more talented than Miami, but they've got a shot.
The talent they have on that team, they should be a playoff team.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a real coach has them in the playoffs. Let's see, what else do we have here? Damn it, dude. The Mark Walton release is breaking my heart. The kid has so much potential. It doesn't break my heart. He beat on a woman. Screw him, dude. Sorry. I have no sympathy for people like this. No. In fact, I hope he ends up in jail, and I hope they beat the crap out of him in jail. Okay? That's how much I'm reversed than you are on that one. All right? Mark Walton is nothing but a disgrace to humanity. Do you understand that? If you're hitting women, you are a disgrace. That's all. If you got to punch a woman, then you're a disgrace. The Walton move today was quietly a huge message sent to the team and players that want to play in Miami in the future. Keep your nose clean, no horse crap allowed, Bill and Simi. In federal prison, they don't take too kindly to child and pregnant abuse. Walton ain't going to have it easy in prison. Well, that's if he serves any prison time, Bill. I don't know what happens. You know, sometimes these women don't want to press charges, and it's just crazy stuff. What the F? Mark Walton in trouble again. And what was it that you asked Saban for him to call you? An a-hole? Yes. Yeah, Saban called me an a-hole. Yeah, that press conference didn't go too well that day. He wasn't very happy with me. I know what you're trying to get me to say, a-hole. It's kind of the way he did it.
No.
But he also was walking away from me. He had his back turned to me when he said it too. That was the other thing. Then he called me up to his office to apologize. Is what he did. And he closed the door behind me with a garage door opener. I walked in, and then he pressed the garage door opener, and the door closed behind me automatically.
Oh, he had the evil guy James Bond door. You know, you walk in and it.
No, it was better than that. He also had a velvet rope in front of his door. So, because he didn't want people, there's a hallway that goes right across his door. He didn't want people walking in front of his door exactly. So they would have to walk around the red rope around his front door.
What, like at a museum, it's roped off?
It's roped off. It was roped off. Seriously. He had a red rope that was there, that was around the front door of the office. So you had to walk around the front of his door. So you couldn't walk directly in front of his door. Apparently that must have. But then again, you've got your little garage door closer, right? Close the damn door and you won't see anybody walk in front of your door. It's pretty simple. But whatever. I guess he was also paranoid that people would be, like, hanging out on the side of the door, like trying to listen in, you know, that kind of stuff. Or so I don't know. I don't know. Nick is a weird dude. Hell of a coach, the greatest college football coach of all time, but definitely a weird dude. No doubt about that. Okay. That was too funny. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's 786-322-1105 on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. Make sure you reach out to Bobby Nunez and the great people at Accident Law Firm. They do a great job and great sponsors. Hey, support all of our sponsors. We are growing every single day. It is phenomenal. We are super blessed. And we thank all of you for supporting on the downloads, and obviously we thank our sponsors for getting behind all of this. But it does also require for all of you out there to use our sponsors too. I mean, it would be nice if you use our sponsors to make it all synergy and make this program as strong as possible. So please take care of our sponsors who take care of us and provide real, because really, you think about it, our sponsors are doing one hell of a service because they're assisting in providing local sports talk that we desperately need in this town because there isn't a lot of it. And all they've done is eliminate sports talk in this town, okay? And some shows don't even talk sports. So if you want to get your sports talk, there aren't a lot of places to get it. Bill Lindsay, former Panther great, is going to join us at the top of the hour. So we'll talk a little Panthers as they get ready for the Flyers tonight. We got a party coming to South Florida, folks. Yeah, the Super Bowl's coming. We're going to have our own party in Las Vegas for the draft. Like I told you, join us out there. But there's going to be several parties out here for the Super Bowl, including one by Mr. Rob Gronkowski.
Yo, Gronk, what's up, my man? I've been working on the most genius game plan ever. A ship? Forget about that ship. I'm talking about the ship. Did I hear ship? Did someone say championship? This again. No. We are not talking about SBLIV. We are talking about getting LIT. That's right, buddy. Drink up. Sippy, sip, sip. Bro, you have so much left in the tank. We need you back on the field this season, fighting for another ring. We're going to be world champs again, but this time of partying. It's going to be the biggest rager Miami has ever seen. Time out. This is a bad game plan, bro. You're still in the prime of your partying career. Listen, this isn't just some club event. This is a festival centered around you, featuring your favorite artists, amazing food, killer cocktails, Polynesian beach performers, and I even got the Win in Vegas to pop up an Encore Beach Club VIP section. And we'll call it Gronk Beach. Gronk's party. Woo! Dancing, bikinis, partying. You belong back on the field, blocking, scoring, spiking with elite talent. Don't worry, I already booked the best talent in the game. That's not what I... Wait, the lineup is already booked? Who are we talking? You ever hear of Cascade, Diplo, Rick Ross, Flo Rida, DJ Carnage, and my boy Blau. He knows me well. Okay. Maybe we call an audible, but just for this year. You heard him. We're taking out
the Chris Wallace show.
South Beach. Now named Gronk Beach. It's going to be the wildest big game weekend party ever. Hands down.
Use Chris Wallace for the end of this.
You guys ready for the first Gronk Beach party ever? Get your tickets now before they sell out. GronkBeach.com. See you there.
GronkBeach.com. You know it's going to be a blast. Diplo's there. There you go. For you EDM fans. Little Flo Rida. Love it. It's going to be fun. And you got to see the video. Gronk put it out. It's on his Twitter page or Instagram. I forgot. It's 3 Gronks. So there's one Gronk trying to convince the other Gronk to go play football, and then the other Gronk's talking about partying. And then there's one Gronk that's like in the middle of the 2 Gronks because you got your like bad angel, good angel type of thing. So it's Gronk with the good Gronk and the bad Gronk and all that good stuff. So that's kind of what it is. And that's why you hear the multiple voices on Gronk saying, no, you got to get back in there. We need you on the field. We need you to win a championship. And he's like, no, I'm going for the championship of partying and all that other stuff. So, and you look at him, you can tell that he is nowhere near the body he used to have that was like wide and thick and in shape. He's still in shape, but he's skinny now. He lost most of his muscles. I mean, really, seriously, you look at him and you can tell that the dude stopped working out. Okay, he's in shape because he's still skinny and he still looks, good, but he's not thick anymore. He's not like he's got the guns.
He's not carrying game weight.
No, he's not anymore. And smart. At least he didn't go the other way where all that weight turned into fat. He lost the weight and is in shape, but not, cut and super, muscular thick and all that kind of stuff like he used to be, in other words, when he had to be out on the field. That kind of tells you also it would take one hell of an effort for him to get back. If he was still kind of taking care of himself and kind of keeping that football body, then I would tell you, yeah, maybe he does make a comeback. But it looks like, and you know what? If I'm Gronk, if you made your money, which, by the way, he's going to make more money now because he's not doing this for free and he's not using his money. I'm sure he's getting paid for all of this from all kinds of angles. And apparently he's a frugal guy, like he's pretty smart with his money. If he really has his money, never come back to football. The beating that guy took, what he put his body through, he's going to have a really uncomfortable older age because of all the things that he did to his body in football. Why continue and make it worse and possibly even more debilitating down the line? He's done enough to his back and his body. You got championships, dude. People will call you the greatest tight end of all time, and that argument, it's hard to argue with that. You can have a discussion and make a case for other guys and Tony Gonzalez and all that, but anybody that says you're the greatest two-way tight end, it's nobody could ever call you crazy for that. You know what I mean? In that argument, you could somebody says, "No, I think Gronk's the greatest ever."
The tipper of the scale is the playoff and championship performances.
Yeah, and it's all there.
And no tight end matches up against his number.
Nobody. That guy's a monster. That guy's a monster. So you have nothing else to build on. People can already make a case for you for the GOAT of tight ends. What more do you – if you're going to get paid to party every year at the Super Bowl, then go do that, bro. Go do that, man. Bless you, dude. And he looks like such a cool dude and a great guy you want to hang out with. I did laugh at people. I thought he was going to be some kind of a star or something in Hollywood. I don't think he has that in him. But he does look like the kind of guy you want to hang out with and have some fun.
Just a down-to-earth guy.
Yeah. He's total meathead and all that stuff, but he looks like the cool meathead, not the idiot meathead that wanted to, like, bully people or something. That's not him. He looks like the fun-loving meathead. You know what I mean? And that's the guy you want to hang around with. But that does look like an interesting party. I don't know how much it's going to cost to be at that party, but it's going to be a fun party. No doubt.
You're going to have to throw down some major bills.
Rick Ross, Flo Rida. I mean, Diplo, not that I'm into that kind of stuff, but I know who he is,
It ain't going to be like Ross's Trump dinner for $200,000, but, it's going to be.
And those artists aren't performing cheap either. Okay? All right? They
are definitely getting some they're getting something. Yeah.
Yes.
They are not performing for free.
No, you are paying your share to get those guys. That's not a cheap party. It's going to be a fun party, but it's not going to be a cheap party with Gronk.
Those last couple years, man, as it got later in the season, you got past week 10, 11, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You could see it, man. The ball would be could barely move.
Yeah.
I remember the Pittsburgh game, and it was just like he couldn't hardly move. It was really bad.
Yeah. No, his body's done. He has no business playing the game anymore. Not that he can't. He probably could still get by, but you have beaten it up so much, it's just not worth it now. You've made your money. If you're broke, I would get it. But if you're not broke and you got your money, keep your money, dude, and take advantage. Just don't go on the Chris Wallace show.
To help him cheat an election.
That's not good to be on the Chris Wallace show.
To help him cheat an election.
That's how he did not lose a beat and just kept going. What's going on through Chris Wallace's mind while he's farting on air? Like, oops, like, oh, crap. Did anybody hear that?
I got to play this off and just keep going.
Yeah, he definitely played it off. Nah, it's in the back. It's one of the producers. They did it. We don't have mics on the producers. Yeah, there you go. You're just done. Chris Wallace, hardball, fart ball, whatever you want to call it. Wow, that was amazing. How about this? I saw this in the news, and yesterday we talked a little bit about it with Kaepernick, and I told you about Dungy and Stephen A. expressing their opinions on what went on with both. And I'm really proud that people are now seeing what I've been seeing for a while now. Okay, because it's not just now. I've been saying for a while that this guy's a phony and he really doesn't want to be a quarterback, because if he wanted to, he would go to the CFL. So Tony Dungy yesterday was on Sunday was quoted on talking about the situation with Kaepernick, and now I am trying to find the damn sound bites here. Hopefully I have the damn sound bites. Here we are. Okay, now I got it. And so Dungy talking about the situation with Cap and if he really wants to play, because that to me is the one that I've kind of said from the get-go, this guy doesn't really want to play.
If I was still coaching, my big question that I would want, Colin Kaepernick is a good quarterback. He's a good athlete. I know he can throw the ball. I know he's one of the top 100 quarterbacks in the league. There's just 100 quarterbacks playing. But what I don't know is how badly he wants to play. And that didn't get answered today. And that, to me, is the problem. Or that didn't get answered yesterday. That was the problem with that. We didn't get to talk to Colin Kaepernick. None of those coaches, none of those GMs, none of those decision makers got to sit eye to eye with him and say, are you going to come and be on my team and do anything it takes to play and win?
That's it. That, to me, is what the question is. And he has not proven to me that he wants to be a quarterback. And the way he attacked the NFL on Saturday, he set himself up to never get that opportunity again. That's called that was a job interview, a job. You're not there to just hand your resume. It was a way to meet people. And once you took it off an NFL facility and went to a high school, you completely lost control of everything. And then that's why teams did not want to go over there. And you didn't even want to sign a waiver. And I gotta commend Stephen A. Stephen A. had a post. I think he did it on his Instagram or Twitter account on Cap. And I got to tell you something. He was on target. Give him a lot of credit. He has read through the BS of Colin Kaepernick and his people.
This man, one of the champs, 25 teams show up in Georgia at the Atlanta Falcons practice facility, state-of-the-art facility, NFL personnel, equipment, everything, video, everything. And what does Colin Kaepernick do? Not Tuesday, when he found out about it. Not Wednesday, not Thursday, not Friday, Saturday. 3 hours before the workout. because of some issue with a liability waiver. Colin Kaepernick wants to change the venue. Colin Kaepernick wants his own receivers. Colin Kaepernick wants to video things himself. Colin Kaepernick wants the media. This Colin Kaepernick, media can't find him. He ain't done no interviews. He ain't talked to nobody. Media can't find him, but he wants to do anything. He wants the media available now. He don't want to play. He wants to be a martyr. But guess what? It ain't working this time. All of us believe that Colin Kaepernick would have showed out. And if he had showed out, I'm here to tell you, I believe he would have had a job inside of 2 weeks. But it didn't happen because he didn't show. He wanted to show up to a high school in Georgia. Not an NFL facility, a high school. And then YouTube it live. Like the average Joe out there gets to decide if he's on the NFL roster. You don't want to work. You just want to make noise. And you want to control the narrative. It's over. Colin Kaepernick's aspiration in the NFL for an NFL career. It's over.
He's right. He's right. He put a nail in the coffin. And if I'm the NFL, I wouldn't want his ass in my league either. That's all. It's a distraction. And all he did on Saturday was create a more... I mean, anybody in the NFL is going to believe him when they say, are you going to keep protesting? What do you think he's going to do? Of course he is. He was already ready there and going after the NFL and all that. Dude, we all know that they blackballed you. But you played the game the wrong way. You don't take on the NFL aggressively. Why? They got more money. They got better lawyers. That's why they put you in a corner. That's why they own your ass, Colin Kaepernick, because your dumb ass just wanted a settlement, and they saw through the BS. But if you would have played the game the right way, you go to the CFL right away and ball, you would have created the crap storm you have prayed for your entire life, because 16 teams and their fan bases would have gone bat crap crazy watching you tear it up in the CFL and said, why aren't you signing Colin Kaepernick? He wants to be a quarterback. He's playing quarterback. He's kicking ass in the CFL. He's better than the guy we have now. 16 fan bases would have said that. Do you know how many millions of people that is? Maybe 20 fan bases say it, because there aren't that many good quarterbacks. Okay? So let's go to 6. I'm just going to stay at 16. Think about that. That's a lot of people crying for Cap. And he would have gotten what he wanted. People want him for football. But he doesn't really want to be wanted for football. He wants to be the poster child of the movement. And they saw through the BS. And the combative way that you went about Saturday, Colin Kaepernick, see, he's obviously not very bright, because if he thinks he's controlling anything, he's really stupid, because he's not controlling a damn thing. The NFL controls everything and anything, and they get hurt by nothing. So aggravating Colin Kaepernick for them is fun. Colin Kaepernick thinks he's big shot, thinks he challenged the NFL and all that. These guys are laughing at his ass because they're making tons of money and they can just sweep those kind of issues away. And that's what they did with him. They swept him away. And that's it. And what you did on Saturday, Colin, all you did was bury yourself. You didn't help yourself out. You don't really want to be a quarterback. And I'm glad that most people are finally seeing this, because this is what I've been saying now for a couple years, that he doesn't really want to be a quarterback.
With his whole platform, a majority of it, you would say, is the playing football and being blackballed and all that. And now that being eliminated kind of eliminates his platform, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I mean,
The spotlight is dimmed because of that.
Totally, but I don't really think he had much of a platform. He's just kind of a name. I see other.
No, but
people,
you understand.
I totally understand what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, it's a phony platform.
Right. Yes. It's a facade. It's garbage.
It's a total facade.
Yes.
Because he does nothing. He's never in front of the scenes. And
you've
by the way,
mentioned many activist people.
Yes, real he's not an activist. No. He's a coward in this whole thing.
Yep.
And Stephen A. had a great line in that rant because he goes, he wants the media there. Meanwhile, for 3 years, you can't find him. He's never in front of the media. He's not like Kenny Stills out front, talking to the police, talking to city officials and all that, going to the troubled neighborhoods and trying to bridge the gap of the distance between the residents and the cops. He's physically working all of that in public, taking on all of that. In social media, this guy's never anywhere.
Getting on the ground and doing the legwork. Yeah.
And that was a great line by Stephen A. that to say, okay, so now he wants the media. It's like watching Shannon Sharp part of the media. Shannon Sharp hated the media, never talked to the media. Now he's the media. It's funny. It's hilarious. People that were anti-media and now you want to be one of us? How? Wait a minute, but dude, you don't talk. Are you willing to actually say and be objective and say what goes on, and even of your former teammates and things like that? I mean, it's just too funny to me. Some of these guys that are completely anti-media, and then all of a sudden now they want to start when they got to get into the Hall of Fame. They'll start doing all those interviews and they'll start getting all close to the media and all this. Just give me a break, man.
Hey, I got an idea. Let's get Bill Lindsay on the show.
Yeah, let's do that because Colin Kaepernick is a stinking phony. Bill Lindsay is as true as it gets. He is as brutally honest as it gets, and he's next.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET. On 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
It is time to talk a little Florida Panthers because it's a hockey night in Florida, baby. The Cats back in action, taking on the Flyers at the BB&T Center. and my man Bill Lindsay, of course, Panther Great. You can follow him on Twitter at Lindsay B Hockey. Kind enough to join us now on the program. Bill, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Big O. Everything good?
Everything is great, my brother. When the Panthers are 10-5-5 and they're not in a hole that I know they got to try to climb out of in February to try to get into the playoffs, I am feeling good right now because we haven't had this in a while where the Cats are already in the playoff grouping. You know what I'm saying? That's fun.
It's been a while, and that is fun. We're not chasing to start the year, and that was the objective coming out of training camp. And the best part is it should continue to get better. There's some areas of improvement that this team thinks that they can be better at, and the coach, Quenneville, thinks that they'll be able to do better. So they're scratching the surface to start, and hopefully this is just the start of bigger and better things.
And here's where, like, my thinking and my attitude with the Panthers has changed this year, Bill. Because the last couple of years, hey, I know they're young and they're trying to get the best, and I knew that the defense and the goaltending wasn't up to par that you needed, and certainly behind the bench they didn't have a special coach, so I couldn't expect too much. Now I demand more from these guys, so I'm with Quenneville on this. You got the young talent that's already developed and matured at this point. You added the Hall of Fame coach. You got the goaltender that needs to pick up his game here. I need to see more from this team because right now I'm happy we're where they're at, like I told you. But let's be honest, and that's what we love to be on this show. Right now they're playing the kind of hockey that gets you in the playoffs and gets you eliminated in the first round. They need to raise that defense so they can make a run and get into that second and maybe third rounds.
And still have 60 games to do it. That's the beautiful thing to
Amen.
start. And if you look to it at what's happened around the league with teams that have won Stanley Cups, if you go back to Chicago, you take a look at Pittsburgh, even the Los Angeles Kings, and all these teams were built through the draft with a tremendous young nucleus that came to fruition. And Quenneville had Chicago with Kane and Taves, Seabrook, Duncan Keith, those type of players. There's the same sort of assembly line that has happened here in Florida with the drafting of Barkov, Huberdeau, Trocheck, Ekblad. So, and they're starting to reach their peak years. So this is when you've added the pieces around them. You go out and get Achari, Strawman, the goaltender, Bobrovsky. This is what should be expected of this team. And you touched on being able to win a Stanley Cup. They do have to get better defensively. Bobrovsky, last couple of games, shaky. Second and third period last game against the New York Rangers, he came out a different person. It was like enough is enough. You could see his whole body language change and his whole demeanor, like, okay, it's time. And he was lights out in the second, especially the third.
Yes.
And I love the third period against the Rangers with the way they played defensively. So they show the capabilities there, but they do have to be able to cut down on the goals against if they want to get somewhere in the playoffs. They're tracking in the right direction. But I put it that this young nucleus, Barkov, Huberdeau, is so good, and Trocheck is starting to find his way back from numerous injuries. Ekblad, he's relied on Ekblad a lot, playing 27, 28 minutes a night, and there's been a revolution in his game. It's improved. So those young stars are becoming exactly that, stars in the league. Now, if everyone just sells out and the supporting cast does what they're supposed to do, you got a dangerous team.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. There's no doubt it's a dangerous team right now. That's why I demand more, because the potential is there. And not only are your young stars doing a great job, I think that Talon has done a phenomenal job with the supporting cast, the Connollys of the world, those kind of guys. I think he's done a really, really good job of finding guys that really, Frank Vetrano, all these kind of guys have done an awesome job of supporting the big names on this team.
They have, even going back to last summer, and you get Mike Hoffman.
Yes.
But you get and you add another 20 goal scorer in Connolly and Strawman, the defenseman. And one of the biggest signings, I can't believe that was on the free agent market as long as he was, is Brian Boyle at $1 million. If he was on one of those PTOs or 10-day contracts in the NBA, he would have went from $1 million contract to maybe a $3 million contract with the way that he's played in the first 10 games with the Florida Panthers. It's been that impressive. So you add that, and what those players have is a bunch of playoff experience. Strawman over 105 games. Boyle's been to the Stanley Cup. He's been in those wars, in those battles of attrition. So there's if you see on the on-ice product, but you're talking about the demand for more, those players that they brought in, they're going to demand that and expect that out of each other, and they're going to push those young kids to come along. And when it's not good enough, they're going to stand up in that dressing room and say, this is not good enough. We have to compete better, because they show it in their actions on the ice, the way that Boyle plays, the way that Achari plays, the way that Strawman plays. There is a consistency and a desperation to their game, and that can't help but rub off on the other players.
Yeah, and Achari, oh my Lord, wow! Talent is just so good, man. I'm telling you, this team, and what I love is the attitude that Quenneville has. Like, okay, we've done good up to this point, but we got to do better, and that's what I like, is that he's already taken them to another level than they were last year, but he is demanding more. Billy, as a coach, how does he get to that point? How does he get more out of them? What does a coach have to do in order to tweak more out of guys like that?
When you do, you set the expectation and you keep it really simply focused. And Quenneville and the best coaches will keep you in basically one period, one shift, one practice at a time mode. So when you go out there to practice, there's a high demand in that practice. If it's going to be 20 minutes, then you're going to have to go out there and practice 20 minutes the right way. And there's going to be no mistakes in the drills. If not, you do them over. You hold everyone accountable. You see it with ice time, and that's the biggest leverage that a coach has. If you're not playing well, you're going to sit on the bench. And Matheson struggled last game. He did not play a lot in the third period. The game before that, but Toronto was a player that struggled. We saw it with even Dadnoff and Huberdeau in the game in Nashville. There's an expectation to be met every single game. And if you're not going to do it, he's just going to roll out, whether it's the fourth line guy, first line, who's ever given me my best effort that night, you're going to play and you're going to help us win hockey games. So that really provides an internal competition on the team to push each other to a higher, better level. Because you just can't get by. You cannot slack with a coach like that that's going to demand that not only in practice but in games.
Okay, no doubt he's a hard ass. No doubt he's a demanding coach. What have you heard? What's the other side of him? Because there's no way you can only be one way with players, especially professional players. There has to be another side. What do you hear? What is that other side for Q?
Well, the coach Q, I wouldn't put him in the Tortorella or the Mike Keenan or that type of mode that's that demanding that it's just yelling at you all the time, screaming. That's
right.
Not effective. There's a relationship that he develops with the player, that there's a trust. Listen, just give me your best. I'll trust you. There's a communication back and forth, and that's all you want as a player. Just give me some communication. Give me some feedback. And he's going to provide that. He'll show video clips, and it's nothing to take personal. If he benches you for a game, it's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to yell and scream at you for what you did wrong. You know what you did wrong. I'll just give you out there, and if you play good next game, I'll give you your 20 minutes. So it's not that hard driving mentality that I'm going to scream and yell at you every single night if you're not doing your job. I'm going to have communication with you, and it's going to be an open line of communication. This is what I expect. And so when you have that kind of back and forth and kind of that open line of communication, then there's a demand there, but there's also a respect that goes both ways, because he respects the players and what they do and what they try and give them, and he'll give that respect right back. You just have to be able to earn it.
Bob, right now, the stats aren't great. Florida's allowing 3.55 goals per game, fourth most in the NHL. His .882 save percentage is second worst in the NHL, with goalies with 500 minutes of ice time or more, of course. He looks like a level-headed guy. So what is it about Bob that he's got to find a way to turn that corner? And I know you talked a little bit about it, that you think we kind of saw, maybe the beginning of it here in the Rangers game.
We did. Early on in the season, too, they were winning games. His record was good, and he was making saves at the right time of the games to allow them to win, even though he was giving up some goals. Then it became an issue in that Boston game. It wasn't very good. So you have that Boston game that wasn't very good. You get pulled. You have that outstanding comeback that's the best comeback in Panther history. And then you get the start against the New York Rangers, and you're not good in the first period. And those were that game against Boston, that first period against the New York Rangers, were the first couple of games that I went, he's struggling with his positioning and his confidence. So the one way to fight through that as a goaltender is he basically got angry with himself and knew it wasn't acceptable. So he's won 2 Vezina trophies. He's got to find a way. The talent's there. The team has to be better in front of him. I just believe that great superstar players find a way throughout the course. If you average the stats out, whether at the end of the 60 games, I believe they come out to where they are almost every other year, because that's been the history over the 10, 11 years that he's played in the NHL. And that's what happens with all the great players in the game, that their numbers seem to average out over the course of it. And that's what you hope this is, just a bad stretch, and that his numbers come around and he becomes that elite goaltender because the talent's there, and it becomes a bit of a mental issue that he's going to have to fight through.
And I think it gets to a point, too, where I don't think he wants to deal with the questions, right? Because that's not who he is. And you don't want to be associated with that kind of stuff. You're elite. You don't want to be asked about struggles and that you're very ordinary or average. I would imagine that when you're a great player like that, this kind of a situation is not bad for a couple days, a week or something, but you certainly don't want this thing dragging on, because then it will become annoying for an elite player like that.
It does, and it starts to eat at you. Everyone says, well, you give a player all kinds of money. Give him $77 million, 7 years contract, $11 million. Does he take it easy? And because of the money that he's just not going to be the same goaltender. Sergei Bobrovsky does not fit that mold. He could be making $1 with his preparation and work ethic. I talked to the goaltending coach, Rob Salas. His summer workouts in the summer last from 9 o'clock in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. Not high intensity, but there is something going on as far as preparation for the next season from 9 to 3. And that same kind of work goes into the season when he starts. So if you got a guy with that kind of commitment, that kind of drive,
right,
and it doesn't matter. I want that guy playing for me. So he's given up some goals. I still want that guy playing for me, and the record is okay, but I will go down swinging with a guy that has got that commitment and to his teammates and to himself, that he is just going to push himself until he eventually finds it. And that's what I believe will happen with Bobrovsky. He's got that internal fire and drive that you want from a goaltender.
Let's hope so, man. Give us a preview of the Flyers. Who are they? What are we expecting tonight as Panther fans?
The Flyers are a team that always looks really good on paper and always seem to fall short. But you want to talk about coaching around the NHL. Barry Trotz, what he did with the New York Islanders last year, what Joel Quenneville has been able to do with this team. Alain Vigneault has been to a couple of Stanley Cups, lost them both, but one with Vancouver, one with the New York Rangers, a very successful coach. All of a sudden, this team that looks very good on paper has got an experienced coach behind the bench. And all of a sudden, Philadelphia is one of those teams that's looking to be back into that playoff picture. Their stars, Giroux, Voracek, have been playing better hockey. You got a great young defensive group there. Gossa, Spare, Sanheim, Provorov, and the goaltender. The missing link all these years with Philadelphia was the goaltender. And Carter Hart has the potential to maybe be a superstar, but a franchise goalie. And if he is that for the Philadelphia Flyers, he's still very young and maturing. They're going to be one of those teams in the playoffs. So just to me, if you want to preview the Philadelphia Flyers and the Florida Panthers, look around the league and pay attention to what coaching could do for hockey clubs. This is a much better coached team with a lot of talent to surround it.
Good stuff. As always, follow him on Twitter at Lindsay B. Hockey. Catch him tonight, baby, as the Cats take on the Flyers and hopefully the 11th victory of the season. Bill, as always, you're a stud, my brother. Thank you for taking some time and joining us here on the show.
Thank you as always, Bill. I appreciate the time.
You're the best, baby. There you go. Bill Lindsay, man. Good stuff as always. Love having Bill on. He always gives us the skinny there. And by the way, sorry about the camera. I screwed up the camera there. I moved it around accidentally. Although you saw my TIE Fighter. You were able to see my TIE Fighter. I got a big old TIE Fighter here. See? I'm a Star Wars geek. I'm geeking, baby. There you go.
Do you remember Family Guy?
What? Yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Blue Harvest.
I wouldn't know. No, I've seen a few episodes, but I don't watch it religiously.
The end of the first, because they did all three, the originals, 4, 5, and 6, and at the end, whatever, the what's his name? Oh God, the bad guy, whatever, Darth Vader, and he's like, "Hey, where you been? What? You've been wearing the same clothes for 7 days, flying around? I can't imagine what you must smell like."
Yeah. Love that. Love it. The Mandalorian, by the way, has been awesome. Both episodes, loving it.
Well, the first one was 12th. The next one was the 15th. You had 3 days.
Yeah.
The next ride was it a full 7
Friday.
days?
It's
full
Friday
7
now,
day.
Yeah, it's Friday. It's every Friday. Apparently, that's when they come out, is on Fridays. So that's where the second one came out, was last Friday.
You gone through withdrawals yet?
No, but I have watched it.
You watched it a few more times?
I've watched it a couple times, yes. Yes, I did watch it. In fact, before I watched the second episode, I rewatched the first one. And so, yeah, and I've already seen the second episode a couple times also. So, yeah, I am definitely enjoying The Mandalorian on Disney+.
It's there. It's
yeah.
there.
No, it's good, man. I'm enjoying. It gives me a Star Wars fix. Okay.
Is it Rogue One-esque?
Yeah, it's really good. I like it. Now remember, there's not a ton of action because they're kind of setting the storylines in the first couple here.
Of course.
But overall, it's well written. It's
got the Star Wars feel.
Yeah, dude, it's done professionally. I mean, they didn't cut corners. Just looks really, really good overall. So yeah, I really like it. So there you go.
I think I'm gonna have to jump.
Now the scene is coming up with my TIE Fighter on the screen that I'm looking at right there. So anyway, we thank all of you there for always tuning in and supporting the show as always. What else do we have to talk about today with the show? Oh, I got to tell you, the Tua injury, which is a terrible injury, and it's just depressing for the kid, and whatever I think about the Dolphins, that they should stay away early on in the draft from him, all that. Forget about all that. Just the fact to watch that video yesterday of him playing the ukulele and singing, which, by the way, not a bad voice. He was all right. And just have that attitude in bed when your career may be over, or, I mean, knowing him, the way he acts, he's probably looking at it like, oh, this is just a little speed bump. We'll get over it and we'll move on and we'll have our career. He looks like that kind of kid or kind of person that is a positive person. I'm that kind of guy too. Whenever I have adversity in life, I say, okay, well then I attack the adversity and I find a way to turn it into a positive right away. That's just the way I am.
To hell with that doom and gloom,
yeah,
woe is me.
Yeah, I'm never a woe is me guy. I just cannot be the woe is me and this and that and all that. No, dude, I'll move on and I'll make the best of it, and and life moves on, and you've got to do your best to change it. You know what I mean? Because nobody's really going to help us in the end if we don't and aren't willing to help ourselves. Kind of like Mark Walton. That guy's never going to turn into a decent human being if he doesn't want to do it himself. And clearly, he doesn't want to do it. But just to watch him play the ukulele and singing and the attitude and the Saban stories, too. I don't know if you caught the Saban press conference yesterday where he he tells the story that I call him to cheer him up after I've been in the film room for 10 hours. And I come out and I say, let me go check on him and call him. And when I'm done with the conversation, he's inspiring me and giving me more hope and making me feel better. But I called to try to make him feel better. Okay? That's who this kid is. And that is pretty phenomenal. And it's a great example for all of us in any walk of life. Anything that happens to it. Hey, look, it's life. Things are going to happen. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have bad luck. It's just going to be the way it is. Everything can't be perfect. We'd all love to have an inheritance. We'd all love for daddy and mommy to leave us an inheritance so we could just live life and then have a problem-free life and be health-free and have no financial problems. But unfortunately, all those things are going to happen to us at one point or another, and we've got to find a way to overcome all of that. And you've got to have the right attitude to overcome adversity in life. And that kid, that's impressive, man. That's one of those things that you can, you as a parent, you can use it as an example for your child. You can use it as an example for yourself, for whatever issue you're going through. Look at what this young man's going through. He could be facing a career-ending injury. We don't know. He's probably going to be maybe even more injury-prone than he's been ever because of that hip injury. But he doesn't have that attitude. And that's pretty magical, I got to tell you. That's pretty awesome, because that's when you find out about people is in their adversity and their worst moments in life, and this is one of his worst moments, and he's handling it like an absolute champ. Let's see. What do we have here? Dolphins got a bright future. No more bums on this team, please. That's what Ray Barato says. Go Gator says, I just watched Tua's video. He's got a decent voice. Yes, he does, actually. He's got a nice little voice. Yeah. I'm with you there. To wrap it up here on the program, we got a bunch of people to thank, of course. Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald, Manny Navarro from The Athletic with our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report, Bill Lindsay, of course, always doing great work for us. We love Bill, and he will be calling the game tonight. Hopefully we'll be talking about a Panthers win over the Flyers tomorrow. Tonight, but tomorrow on the show, hopefully we'll be talking about a Panthers win, which would be nice. And hopefully we'll have some other stories for you tomorrow, and we'll get ready for a little Heat game tomorrow night.
Another winning team up against the Panthers, man.
Yeah.
The teams we have played.
That's fine. But they're 10-5-5.
Yeah, man.
So they're doing good. Now tonight, this is a team that's 1 point behind you in the standings. I know it's way early to talk about standings, but let's have a little fun. They're a point behind you. Let's bury Philadelphia. All right? We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bill, excellent work by you as always. We thank all of you out there for tuning in, downloading the show, as always, spreading the word. We appreciate it. Reach out to us on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. Be good out there. We'll see you tomorrow.